Hello everyone and welcome to the Superhero Rewind Commentary Project. I am Captain Logan and joining me as always is my sidekick Austin. Hi Austin.
Well, I was going to say, you're Captain Logan and I am sorry. Because it's because of me we're watching this.
You should be. You should be. You know, you could have picked any Superman thing you wanted to that we haven't done already, and all we've done are Supermans 1 and 2. I don't know. Like, I guess I don't want to get into this too much yet. I almost said I would have even rather you pick 3, but I don't know if I can go that far. I don't know if I can quite go that far.
Oh, easily. Easily, I'd much rather watch 3.
All right,
3 sucks. The Richard Pryor stuff. Christopher Reeve is still great in that movie. Like, everything when we cut back to him is still great.
Yeah, there are
it's
fun.
Just Richard Pryor sucks.
There are fun scenes in it. Like, it doesn't come together or hold up at all. But like, he fights himself in a junkyard. That's fun.
Evil Superman, who's just like a menace that like inconveniences people, is funny.
Yeah, no, that's
I like
pretty
all
fun.
that.
Right, he's so wholesome. That's the closest to evil he can get.
Yeah, he straightens the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Gets drunk and he's got 5 o'clock shadow. Yeah.
He just kind of flies around. He's a jerk, I guess.
He's so menacing. Yeah, imagine if that's what Injustice Superman was.
That'd be so much better. I'd love that. Batman's like, we gotta stop him.
Well, anyway, we have already exhausted our feelings on this movie, so good night, everybody. No, tonight we're doing Superman Returns, because Austin put it on a poll along with some other more obscure things that would have been more fun to do than this. So, of course, I've talked a lot about this, and my story with this was always, like a lot of people, I went to the theater and enjoyed it thoroughly and never had that experience again, and don't understand what I was smoking. It's like some kind of chemicals were pumped into the theater for all of us that were nostalgic for the Christopher Reeve movies, and yet it can't even just be that, because I know Austin liked this okay when, of course, Austin's a lot younger than me. He saw this as a kid. I know Austin liked this okay when he first saw it, and he didn't even have the nostalgia for the Reeves movies. So, like, something was going on with... And, like, you didn't even see this probably, like, right when it came out. You probably saw this on video.
No. So I have, like, the exact perfect magical experience the first time.
Okay.
So I get to go on my first trip. Like, I get to go on a plane, and we go to Alberta, and I go to West Edmonton Mall, which is this giant mall. Like, there's basically a circus with, like, animal performers, like, in the middle, like, when you're walking down the aisles. Like, it's
awesome.
crazy. There's, like, roller coasters in it. It's like a magical place. And they have a movie theater in there, and it was the first film I'd ever seen in IMAX, and
so you did
possibly
see it
3D.
Sorry,
I did see it in
for some
theater.
reason I thought you told me
okay.
you saw it on video or something. Okay.
No. So I get to see it in IMAX and in 3D. So it's possibly also the first 3D movie I ever saw in the theater, because it was one of those old ones where it's like, okay, when this happens in the movie, put your glasses on, and then you can take them off after that. Like, it's one of those.
The real early days of 3D. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was one of those, and I don't know, I'm 8 years old, 7 years old, so it was like a magical experience. And then I got it on DVD for Christmas, and I could never go back to it.
That's nuts. Yeah. You're one of a number of people I've talked to that had the same thing I did. And my wife liked it a lot when we first saw it together. Of course, we were dating at the time. But like nearly everybody I've ever talked to that saw this contemporarily, it's hard to say what exactly was in the water, because most people that had that experience didn't have it again later. But more than that, because, of course, I reviewed this on the channel 15 years ago. I did a commentary a long time ago with Oliver Harper. He's still doing his thing. Check his channel out. I haven't talked to him in a while, but Oliver's great. But anyway, I was kind of dreading this. Like, I knew it was boring. I knew it had premise issues. Where I don't really buy how we set the thing up. It's very confused in being a in being a nostalgia sort of sequel slash reimagining at the same time. It can't decide what continuity it's in. Its characters are way too young for being this late in the game. Like, I remembered a lot of things not making sense and the thing being real slow and too long. I didn't remember it being exactly what it is watching it again this week. It's like a thing that already didn't work for me doesn't hold up. And it's crazy. Yeah. Like, I had, and we'll see what it's like watching it together, Austin. I had like an X-Men Apocalypse level watch with this, where like it just completely fell apart. Like nothing was working for me at all. And I just wanted to get up front and saying that because I don't want to be disingenuous about it. Like, as always, I want to give it its due when it deserves it. But wow, was this hard to watch. And again, in not wanting to be disingenuous, does any of that have to do with how much I enjoyed the new Superman movie that just came out, James Gunn's Superman? It's hard to say, but I think if I'd seen this 2 weeks ago, I'd feel the same way about it.
No, I think so too. Like, I didn't even think about the new movie. The only thing I would say in comparison is I have the exact opposite experience, where with that, I'm like, this isn't perfect, but there's very few things where I'm actively disliking it while I'm watching it. And this is the exact opposite, where it's like, is this the worst movie ever? No, but there's very little I'm actually enjoying throughout the movie.
I want to be fair about it and say it's possible that that's... I really don't think it is, but just to be fair with it, like, it's possible that that's clouding my feelings because I finally got such a comic-inspired Superman world that goes back to like Silver Age type things and gets big and bombastic and does a lot of like super science and that kind of thing. And this is the antithesis of that because Bryan Singer is only interested in Donner Superman and he will not pick up a comic book to save his life. But even within that mold, he could have made a better movie. I mean, he could have made a Superman 5. You know, like even with this cast, like there's really no excuse for how much nothing is working with this.
Well, because he makes the wrong choice in every department. And this is a weird movie in that he gets complete carte blanche to make this. WB is like, do your thing, do whatever you want to do. And this is what he made.
Yeah, well, and they loved his pitch, and it's a real simple, not especially like amazing pitch to me. I mean, we'll talk about all this. We should get into it pretty soon. But the idea that they were sold so hard on. Remember, after a Superman movie post 4 being in development hell forever, where like they kept trying different things and stuff wound up at various stages of development. Superman Lives was almost made. Like costumes sets were being built. Like that. Like
it was
that.
Like a week from filming when they shut it down.
Yeah. Flyby got almost that far. That was
one I mentioned in
I
one
don't
of
know
our
that
videos.
I don't know that it had suits being made and stuff, but I mean, like, it was in pretty far pre-production before that was shut down, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think it got that far, but it was definitely pretty far. And I think I've mentioned this somewhere, maybe in that like Odd Developments video. The Brandon Routh is one of the audition tapes from that, and so is Henry Cavill, and both of them come up again because they look through that stuff.
Yeah, because I've been hearing people a lot lately bringing back the auditions for this and saying Cavill auditioned for this movie, and he actually recently set everybody straight and said, no, I didn't read for Superman Returns, I read for Flyby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they both read for Flyby, and their tapes were pulled up, but and obviously with this, they went, oh, well, this guy kind of looks like Christopher Reeve.
And that's all they seem to have cast him on. In the behind the scenes, which I didn't watch a lot of, I watched a few minutes of that, and it just, Austin, it's just kind of dull. I wish there was a director commentary for this. If there is, it's on a Blu-ray somewhere that I couldn't find. I went out today trying to find that, like locally, because I couldn't find definitive information online about whether or not Singer ever recorded a commentary for this, but it's not even on the 2-disc special edition, which I went out and bought today because my copy was skipping. I was having problems with the disc, so I had to rebuy it anyway. But anyway, in the behind the scenes with that, Singer even seems to have reservations about Ralph's acting chops when he's picking him. And he seems like a tad, I don't want to oversell it, but he seems a tad unsure if that's really his guy. It really feels like it was the look and maybe the voice and not a lot else. And that's not to throw shade at Ralph. I've liked him in things. But I mean, a real green actor. And Christopher Reeve was, of course, an unknown, but certainly had a lot more stage experience and stuff than Ralph had. Like, he was definitely acting. I don't know.
When he was that Juilliard guy, too.
Right. And the way that you know, or one way that you know that Ralph was really probably, or at least in my opinion, because I know there's people that really like Ralph. Again, I have liked him and stuff, but I don't feel like at this point in his career he was right for Superman. Another way that I feel like it's true that he's not right for this movie specifically, because it's supposed to be later in the Reeves version's career, is he also screen tested or at least auditioned for Smallville. Like, and got pretty far. Like, he got beat out by Welling. Yeah. And that's 3 years before this. So they thought he was young enough 3 years earlier to be in high school. And he's playing Christopher Reeve's Superman being out in space for 5 years. What?
Well, and then, of course, Lois is old enough to be an 8-year-old in Smallville in this movie.
Yeah. Okay, we're stalling. We're 12 minutes in already. Let's go ahead and watch the movie. Everybody get... I just wanted to get out ahead of everything and let folks know how likely negative we're gonna be with this. I had a terrible watch with this. Maybe I'll feel better talking over it with you. I don't know. It was rough. It doesn't hold up great.
No, we're coming in with very different energies. I'm just like, this is so dull. But you're like, it's bad.
No, I'm having PTSD from Apocalypse. It's kind of ticking me off in certain ways like that did. Kind of.
You're going full Hackman.
Which isn't fair. But that's just how I feel about it. You wasted my time. Well, and you know, you'd think that I would have that X-Men 3 thing where it doesn't bother me as much because we've had so much good stuff since then. But I think it's just easy for me to go back to the day and have the frustration I feel like I should have had back then. We had to wait that long for this? We had to wait 20 years for this?
I think I also said on a stream recently that you have two really bizarre and out there Superman reboots, and we ended up with the most vanilla one.
Yeah. Well, and we'll get into that a little bit later because I want to compare it to the history of the Batman movies, because I think it's fascinating when you put them up against each other, and like the like various tones that we batted back and forth with, and what we finally wound up with where we're at now with both of those projects, both of those franchises. But anyway, let's get into this. Here we go. Get your DVD, your Blu-ray, HBO Max, however you want to watch it, to timestamp 0. I'm not watching on Max right now, so I don't know if there's a logo before that, so skip that if there is a logo, 5 seconds in, and get ready to press play. I'm just about to do it. Let me make sure that I've got my timer. All right, here we go. Everybody, please press play right now.
So I did forget that this movie has the X2 thing with the Superman theme and the
logo. That too. It's cool,
and it's all downhill after that. that is cool. I like that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that John Ottman, when he did Days of Future Past, was going back to that with this. Like, he'd already had precedent for that.
But this is after, though.
No, but he does it in he does it Days of Future Past. I don't think he does it before. He doesn't do it in X2.
Oh, see, I was thinking it was an X2. Okay, is it just Days of Future Past? Okay.
No, because in X2 we don't know that theme yet. Like, he's teasing us that his theme is coming back when he does it in Days of Future Past.
Oh, it's because the X still holds in X2.
Yes.
That's what it is. I'm thinking of that.
That's the closest he gets, yeah. But the da-da-da-da, that's Days of Future Past.
No, you're right. You're right. There was no S in the WB logo to linger on.
So I won't spend the whole time comparing this to the new movie again, because that's not fair, but it is interesting that these are, as far as I remember, the only two Superman movies that open with text on the screen that catches you up to speed.
I think so, yeah. I think it is just these two.
Because the first movie has that kid voiceover.
Well, and apparently I've heard, and this is like a while ago, so I didn't have a chance to relook this up, but I heard that Singer wanted to open up with the kid voiceover and the curtains, but I don't know if that's true.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me, because in what little of the behind the scenes I watched, I got far enough to see this weird bit where they're not even on set. It's like before they start shooting, and he's on a soundstage with the kid in this, with the kid that plays Jason, Superman's son, and they're reading that opening voiceover from one together back and forth. Him and Singer.
Oh, that's weird. It would have been like a character in the movie.
No, that is weird if that's what it would have been.
Yeah, that's very strange.
Speaking of strange, the fact that they cut out the original 5-minute opening with Superman actually in space is, and not that it would have saved the movie or anything, but it's just flat out incorrect. Like, it's so awkward that he crashes on Earth the way he does without having seen him in space. We get no explanation about what's happened beyond just, I went out to Krypton, I didn't find anything. Like, why did you crash? Like, there's no discussion about it. We don't know. And replacing that with just, we see the planet blow up again, I guess at least that sets up, I don't even want to say tone so much as the kind of mission statement with Singer, where this is a remake of the original masquerading as a sequel / reimagining, right? Like, all he really wants to do...
Reboot.
Yeah, well, but... In an extremely flawed one, I was going to say this watch is so much worse after a lot more soft reboots that we've had to varying degrees of success. Like, after you've seen things like, say, Star Trek 09 and Jurassic World, like, that's some of what makes this not hold up now. Even though those are not great movies or anything, they do it a lot better than this does, both of them. Because he's so self-indulgent with this. Like, all he's interested in is himself as a director getting to recreate set pieces from the original, and in getting rid of that original opening, he's kind of establishing that. I want to show the destruction of Krypton, because that's a thing I remember from the original, and it's important to Superman. I'm like, I don't know why you need to see any flashback on the farm. I don't know why, like there's so many things that we get just because it's like, because you can say member berry, you can say, all the stuff we say now about this stuff, nostalgia bait. I don't think, Austin, it's any of that. I think that's why he was hired. Because I think Warner's thought that that's what they needed to sell Superman at that moment in time, 20 years later.
Return to Superman, yeah.
But I think it's more for his own nostalgia than it is for ours.
Mm-hmm. I also think these opening titles do not fit this movie at all. Because these opening titles scream, oh, like a modern audience doesn't want to sit through this. This is boring. Like, we can't just do those original ones. We gotta have crap flying at the screen at all times. And then you watch the movie and they're not concerned about that to the rest of it. But for some reason, in these opening titles, they were like, oh yeah, the original opening titles are kind of boring. You can't just recreate those. You gotta update them and make them not boring for a modern audience.
No, and it's awkward because then it immediately feels like a straight-up Bryan Singer movie. Like, it feels like we're in X2 in this opening sequence.
Well, it looks like if you took the original titles from the original movie and, like, George Lucas special editioned them.
Well, yes. Yeah, no, absolutely. But I'm just saying it's even, like, sorry, I didn't mean to get too far away from your point, because I completely agree with you, and also, all of the, like, this isn't fair, because I think I liked it better when it came out, like, for 06 CG, I guess it looked okay, but boy, going back and looking at it now, it doesn't even look very good.
No, and I mean, I'm not even complaining about the CGI. Like, it's more so just, it feels just like very in your face. Like, look, we got stuff happening. Whoa, look, whoa.
And then that weirdly ends up being like the most exciting thing that happens in the movie. Like, it doesn't even fit the rest of the movie because it's so boring.
That's what I'm saying.
But
the guys are like, we have to make them exciting because the original ones are too boring.
But yeah, like in trying really hard to evoke the feeling of the Donner movie, even with all of the like planets and stars and everything, like yeah, it's way too much happening. But it still feels jarring to me that you have in 2006 a 3.5 minute title sequence like Donner did it, and then right away it feels like you're watching a Bryan Singer movie. Like he's not even getting away enough from his own mode to be riffing the way he's wanting to riff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if you agree with that, but I mean, it's just so tonally awkward where half of it, and I don't mean scene to scene, I mean like in every scene, half of what you're looking at wants to just remake Donner, and half of it wants to full on modernize it. And it's just really awkward. Not the least of which reason that's a great sentence. But not the least of which because that those original movies were set very definitively in the late 70s, early 80s. And this is doing that like Boom Power Rangers thing where everything has happened, but I guess retroactively there were cell phones and things.
Oh, well, we have early cell phones. They were invented in those 5 years.
Well, I was speaking about Power Rangers when I said that, but like.
Oh, sorry, I got distracted by chat. Sorry.
No, you're okay. But I'm just saying. This is like what we did with the Boom Power Rangers, where we said everything that happens in the '90s Mighty Morphin stuff happens, but there were cell phones. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. Yeah. No, my bad. I have a question for you, Cap.
Yeah.
And it's better we front load it before we get too far away from it.
Absolutely.
Can you name a single line of dialogue that Lex says that isn't wrong?
well, most of it would be lines lifted from the original. So, like, yes, I can, but
that's cheap.
Okay, I can name one line of dialogue that is neither wrong nor
call back
lifted from the original movie, which is, "What did you do?" Because he yells it like 4 times in the helicopter with Kitty when she drops the crystals out of the helicopter.
It's more for the repetition.
That's what. Yes, that's one
okay.
line.
That's
good. So have you seen the original opening scene in space?
Not in a long time, but I have seen it before.
So that was not included in the deleted scenes, in the original DVD release because it was made specifically for 3D IMAX, and so they couldn't get it on the disc. So apparently it was released later. Singer was hoping to re-release the movie in the theater at some point with it, which begged the question, why not include it in the first place? Your movie's already too long. Give it 5 more minutes. Like, I don't really understand that. When it's 2.5,
yeah, there's other things you can cut.
Why not make it 2:35? Yeah, and there's other things you can cut. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the big piece of the nostalgia trip that feels like it's missing with this. Because that's bringing back all the John Williams Krypton music, and it feels much more like the way that movie opened, where it's like Krypton's destroyed, but we're doing all the same kind of mysterious music, the da-na-na-na-na, like that whole thing.
That's where we're introducing Kryptonite, right? Where he gets like poisoned by that, which feels like setup for where the movie's going to go by the end.
And it's also
it should be there.
And it's foreshadowing for Lex using his home to try to destroy him.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to like really turn the knife, where it's like not only did Superman learn that like he suspected but was hoping against hope wasn't true, his home was destroyed, his his arch nemesis is going to make it even worse by not only trying to kill him with it, but by replacing, I just thought of this, his actual real home with his old homeworld. In doing the kind of New Krypton thing. Which on paper, just as an idea, I don't know how you would realize that effectively, but just like as an idea, it's kind of good.
Well, and it's made out of the Fortress of Solitude crystals, so like you do have that aspect of the home.
I want it to be more of a revenge plot.
Yeah, it's weird that it's not, but that's part of the. Is this a sequel or is this a reboot?
Because
like there is elements of revenge here.
Well, there are, but only because Lex is mad that Superman put him in prison for 5 years, and I'm like, but if the old movies count, you've been there before. I don't really understand that.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's really awkward, and I'm sure we'll talk about this more later, but it's really awkward, like, what stuff counts and what stuff doesn't seem to, and what things we've maybe just conveniently kind of forgotten about. Like, the reason Lex knows about the crystals and Kryptonian technology has to be because he's been to the fortress before.
Sorry, you're cutting out a bit. I missed part of what you said.
That's okay. I'll drop you and bring you back in.
Okay. Sorry.
So real quick, can you hear me?
Yep.
Real quick, let me ask you this question. Speaking of Lex's plot, and we'll break this down because I don't fully understand how it would even work and how it's sustainable at all. It makes more sense than some villain plots in superhero movies, but that's just because there's some really even dumber ones. When Lex says, I just want to bring fire to the people when he's evoking Prometheus, what is he talking about exactly? Because what he's really doing is just using Kryptonian technology to bully the remaining Americans to, like, pay him to live somewhere. That's really all he's doing.
But you see, if you mention old mythology, you sound smart, Cap. But I think it's just that when we cut to that Prometheus image, like, it looks like he's bringing down, like, the crystals from the Fortress of Solitude. Like, he's holding, like, a ball with, like, the spikes coming out of it.
Oh, that's true.
Kind of just that.
But, like, I don't feel like anything Lex says after that scene really fits with that scene. And people in the comments push back on me if you have a better read on this than I do. But just going back to this, that kind of jumped out at me. Where it seems more traditional comic Lex for a minute. Where and there are places where he calls him an alien, and like you do have some of that, but he says, I just want to bring fire to the people, and Superman is a little boy in a cape that won't share his powers with mankind, and like for a minute it seems to be that that kind of like envious power struggle thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's definitely like an element of Superman to that, where like he's powered by the sun and he's coming down. And again, that image you can also see as him bringing down the sun as opposed to fire itself, like just how it's portrayed in that that image. It's like there is that part of it as well.
Like, these are ideas that, like, a completely reinvented Lex you could do something with, but it's starting from the Gene Hackman plays is part of what confuses me about it.
Yeah, and I forgot like how much like Hackman Spacey plays it, because it's been so long since I've seen this, and obviously I hadn't seen that original since like the last time I watched this.
And there are places where he plays it a little bit more menacing and sadistic, certainly, where he doesn't feel like a 60s Batman villain, particularly when he gets Superman in the fortress and starts punching him. Like, that almost feels like a scene out of a different movie.
Well, no, there's places where he's like a little bit more sinister, and then there's places where he feels like he's just doing a Hackman impersonation. It's
Yeah.
really weird. You kind of jump back and forth.
And I don't think that's entirely Spacey's fault. I think a lot of that is because of, again, just lifted dialogue. Just like when,
Yeah,
when
well,
he's
and
having
I
to say a
mean,
lot of Hackman's dialogue.
and I mean, I think you can say that about all the actors in this film.
Yep.
Like, I don't know how much blame to put on any of the actors because this movie's completely confused on what it wants to be.
Yeah, break that down for a second.
Well, just in terms of like, is this a sequel? Is it a reboot? Like at times it feels like it wants to be both, and there's places where I'm like, okay, I don't like their take on Lois, but is it the actress's fault or is it because what they have for her sucks? Like, and that's same with Routh.
How
Like,
can you
I never
even...
know how to judge these actors because I'm like, if you were to give them better material, could they play the role? Maybe, I don't know because I don't get to see it.
Yeah, how can you even judge casting? Because I want to say she's miscast, but she might not be if it was a complete reboot.
Yeah, like I would say a lot of these actors are miscast for the movie they made, but would they be miscast in general? I don't know.
Okay, Great says sadly really ahead of its time. Yeah, because you and I have complained about this over and over again with the soft reboot thing where we get decades later sequels that will be in the same continuity ostensibly as the last thing in that franchise, but they're also kind of just doing the same movie again. Like this movie, I said this to you privately. This movie would have been ripe for a Plinkett review on Red Letter Media because you can just see all the side by side comparisons he'd be doing with like
Yeah.
and then this is the exact same scene and here's how it's exactly structured the same way.
And no, that's true too. I think he was just talking about Marlon Brando being CGI in that scene
Oh,
as
I
being
see.
ahead of its time. But you are correct in what you're saying as well.
Oh, I didn't realize he
Uh,
was sorry. I didn't see his comment from before that he was related.
no, it's okay. It's okay. So I think he was mostly talking about that, but you can also see this as like, yes, this is one of the first soft reboots as
I'm
well.
sorry, you guys. I just use your comments for my own uses.
I think you meant to say is you were wrong.
Yeah, the comment section is just a means to an end, really. Apologies. Speaking of that, let me read these super chats.
Speaking of that, we're into some Spider-Man 1 CGI here.
Yeah, and again, what is the point of any of this except just to? Do you feel like Singer is thinking because I know I said this earlier, I just want to get to like realize all this stuff myself, like it's fun to get to shoot these things. And do you think some of it is because some of it has to be that, but do you think some of it is also he's banking that there are people that will go see this that haven't seen a Superman movie in 20-25 years, and so he's over compensating with I have to re-show them everything, and I have to even in exposition later re-explain every single little thing. Like
So
this
I'm
is
gonna hit you
every
with
power he has, and this is and he comes from Krypton and is in like freaking everything, and just in
I'm
the
gonna hit you with a
zeitgeist
triple
things
threat.
we all know.
I'm gonna hit you with a triple threat. It's A, he wants to do that scene where Clark's running in Smallville in the first movie. B, in case it's been a long time or this is your first Superman movie, we get a little bit of it. And 3, I could see that him thinking that's more poignant because we're also going to have Superman's son, so we also get a little bit of him discovering his powers at the beginning.
Okay. Well,
So I'm gonna say it's probably a mix of all 3.
and honestly, that could work better if it wasn't just a quick flash to just show us that. Like, it doesn't feel like in the moment it's there for any reason at all.
No,
And
and I don't think they fully realize the sun stuff at all.
no, and that's the other problem is that when you get to the sun stuff, you have a token use of superpowers, and then you have him giving the father becomes the sun speech at the end, and there's not a lot of substance to it.
No, we don't get enough of Clark dealing with that. We don't get enough of like the Sun dealing with any of that stuff. Like, we don't develop that in any way.
I'm also gonna suggest that as much as I don't think this movie works at all, a sequel would likely have been a great deal better.
Hmm.
I really think he might have come back and gotten this out of his system and kind of given us an X2 with this. I'm not saying it would have been on the same story level, I have no idea, but this does have a little bit of that X1 thing where he's got to get his setup out of the way so that he can then actually tell a story, but the movie didn't do well enough for him to come back and do that.
Well, that's how we described it. Was this is Star Trek the motion picture, and the next one would have been Wrath of Khan, which is a giant insult to motion picture.
It's not just an
But
insult, it's a terrible analogy for anything. Because you don't want to set out, and apologies for folks that don't know their Star Trek, but you don't want to set out to make a setup movie for a thing that it's not even setting up. Like it doesn't even make sense. The motion picture is a standalone movie, and
and his idea was that it's been a while,
and so is
we have
Wrath
to
of
like
Khan.
reintroduce you to everything and
Okay,
like
sure.
make it like grand. By
Okay,
which he means dull. Like that's the way he thinks it's motion picture.
I see.
I actually think this movie would be a lot worse,
No, I guess
judging
that
by
makes
the
sense.
sequel they wanted to make. But we only have ideas. Like it's hard to say. But like when you get to Brainiac possessing his son and Superman kills his own son, it's like, oh, we just made that worse.
Well, and I always forget what the actual ideas for the sequel were supposed to be.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
See, I
But I
forgot
do
about
think
that.
they were just kind of doubling down
It's also
on.
possible they wouldn't have actually done that.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, we are also only going on ideas. Like, it's hard to say.
Let me read these super chats finally. Teddy, $10 super chat. I can't watch a slow paced movie after the action packed thriller that was My Breakfast with Blassie. That's a thing Austin and I reviewed
Exactly.
last night with Andy
If
Kaufman.
Lex puked on the table in the Daily Planet, instant 10 out of 10.
This is the prop from this movie that I most would like to have.
That cardboard cutout, I would
Yeah.
like it to be in your background. I agree.
That'd be great. Joel Davis, and also I don't think he's bad casting for Perry White.
No, I don't either. I think he is good casting. And it was like a last minute swap because House gets picked up for a second season and it was supposed to be Hugh Laurie.
Which is also not bad
Uh,
casting.
No, I think he would have been good, but like I don't think we're lesser for not having him.
I do think this pick is, in comparison, maybe closer to the original actor, but they're still real different. Like once again, this movie cannot decide if these are the same characters or reinventions of those characters, especially with Lois. Like I think Lois is the most completely reinvented character that we're pretending is that same character.
No, and I hate how we introduce her, where we just cut to her for like 3 seconds on a plane, and then we cut back to Clark reacting to how things are different. And for like the next 20 minutes, we're every now and then going to cut back to her on the plane. I don't like that she doesn't have just a full on introduction first.
I agree.
Like, I feel like we should have had something with her on the Daily Planet, even if it was just like a quick, like, hey, Clark, like, I can't talk right now. I'm doing a thing. Like, something.
Just at least let her talk to somebody. And of course, we have that problem a lot more with Superman through this, because this begins the monosyllabic Superman problem that Man of Steel and BVS will also have.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, like I said, I feel like she is very reinvented, and we're trying to make more contemporary, and that's one of the places where we're having our cake and eating it too, trying to appeal to a different audience. And we're also doing it with Superman, who does not feel like the same guy to me, and even from and like forgetting whether or not you think he looks like Reeve or does a good Christopher Reeve impression, just looking at the script and what he does in the movie, he's real out of character. And I like I said, I think the whole thing is built on a faulty premise. Actually, kind of a number of faulty premises. We can get into that, but you're telling me that the Superman that I'm supposed to think, like forget whether this is exactly canon with the originals, right? Like you can go, we're cherry picking, it's its own thing, but anything it calls back to counts. Okay, like James Gunn is sort of gonna do that with a few things with the new DCU. Like it could maybe work. I don't know, but the problem is, everything about the way it's presented makes you think that it's supposed to be at its core the same character. Like, he's about the same things, he acts the same way, he has the same soul as that character, right? And you're telling me that Christopher Reeve Superman from 1 and 2, if the coordinates of his homeworld were found by astronomers, which is already a faulty premise, because I'm pretty sure just based on information in the Fortress, he'd know where it was. Like, I don't even understand that. But forgetting that, he finds out that there's a chance that Krypton, that like maybe people from Krypton are still there, or he can find remnants of it and get information he doesn't already have. That guy is going to, knowing it will take 5 years, leave the planet completely unprotected. At least, like, beyond just
not say anything
regular
about
police
it.
and stuff, and B, that he wouldn't say anything to anyone, and that he wouldn't have the guts to tell Lois. That's preposterous, and that just makes him unsympathetic and pathetic. And needlessly so. He is a lost puppy through this whole movie, and I don't believe it.
Absolutely. Okay, great says that Lois's desk gets a better introduction than she does. That is absolutely true. Also, Dan Sten brought up something that I wanted to mention too, which is that if you're going for just these people kind of look like the original actors, Parker Posey also looks more like Kidder than Bosworth does.
Yeah, Bosworth.
And
right.
I also think could have been a good Lois, but I feel like she fits more in that Routh thing, where I don't think they really look that much like the original actors, but like they look enough like it if you're squinting, I guess.
We know that Singer thinks Routh looks uncannily like Christopher Reeve, and that's a lot of why he was picked. I don't think that's why they go with Bosworth at all. I think they're going for...
I think Stacey suggested her.
Yes, because he had worked with her before, and I think they're going for conventional beauty with her, and they're banking that a younger contemporary audience will be more interested in this if they have that kind of, I don't know, like sex appeal or however you want to put it. And that's why, if he had, and I wouldn't want this, but Austin, if he had to make it this way, where he wants all this Donner nostalgia, but he also wants to contemporize it and make it its own thing, you do a flat out remake. And like, again, I don't want that, but that's obviously what he wants to do. Like he uses the he's been gone 5 years thing as an excuse for breaking the status quo. And I think, maybe I shouldn't bring this up quite yet, but I think he's going for a like meta narrative, a meta commentary about how long it's been since we've had a Superman movie, and about whether or not Superman is still relevant. And so he has Lois write an article that's why we don't need Superman anymore, and then and of course she just has selfish reasons for writing that, and I think that whole idea is kind of bad, but I think the idea is then the movie would try to prove to the audience why in 2006 we still need this character. And I don't think it does a very good job of that, but I think that's what he's attempting to do. And I just feel like what he really wants to do is just make a flat-out remake of Donner. But I guess if he had done that, that would make more sense for the way he cast it and everything. But I guess then you'd miss that meta-contextual thing. Do you agree that that's what he thinks it's about?
Yeah, no, I agree with that completely. I'm sure that was part of, because I know he got Donner's blessing for this. I'm sure that was part of it too. Like when he talked to him about it.
Yeah, I'll get back to super chats in a minute. I think Austin. Oh, sorry. Before we get too far away from it, because we talked over that scene. I when they've got the model railroad, or is it still happening? Some no, we're getting away from it. When we do the model railroad, and we're kind of calling back to the end of Superman 1 with all the natural disasters. It is not actually natural, but all the disaster stuff. Because I think that's what he's doing there. Like, that's his way of realizing that. You have model people screaming.
Well, and it's really weird because it also comes right after you find out that the one dog ate the other dog, and it's like chewing on the bones of it.
Oh, yeah.
And there's like the fur all around it. So it's like you have one of the darkest moments. Oh, no, it's right here.
Oh, here it is. Sorry, I thought we talked over it already.
No, it's okay. So you have one of the darkest moments, and then like 10 minutes later, like one of the stupidest cartoony moments.
But yeah, you notice we do the Mount Rushmore thing.
Yes.
And we do an oil rig on fire. Like we're doing all the stuff that you see at the end of 1 and in parts of 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we'll get some of that at the end, but you're right. They are doing a bunch of that stuff here too.
And then I guess it's just supposed to, like, I'm trying to figure out narratively, besides just calling back to that stuff, like what it's doing in the movie and why we're wasting so much time on it. And I guess it's just, this is what Lex is trying to do to America. So if he gets his way with the crystal and creating the Kryptonite mountain and all of that, like that's foreshadowing for what that would look like. And he's not going to succeed, so we don't see a lot of it later.
Well, like I said, he thinks he's making Star Trek the motion picture, so it's also like, look how big and epic and grand this is. We're going to hold on it, and it's just not.
Yeah, the pacing isn't working, because and some of it, again, is just because I'm not buying the initial character motivation. Like, I'm not buying the gravitas of it, because the whole thing feels so contrived. And also, all the timing for everything is massively convenient. Right? Like, Lex just happens to get out of prison and just happens to be going to get the crystal at the same time as Superman has finally come back. Like, none of that is connected.
Well, I think he's been out of prison for a little bit, because when he's talking to Noelle Neal at the beginning, she's like, oh, Lex, like, I got you out of prison, and you've, like, taken care of me or whatever.
That's a weird cameo.
Yeah. But I think that kind of suggests that he's been out for a little bit by this point, because he's had like some sort of relationship with her before she dies.
Okay, sure, but at the same time, though, it's weird that he's been in prison for 5 years and Superman has been gone for 5 years. Like, maybe he has been out a little while before that happens, but it feels to the audience like they've been in those places for the same amount of time, because they talk about it in the same way, like in 5 years.
It could only be like a couple months.
And then I'm still right that the timing is convenient that he goes to get the crystal when he dies.
Yes, no, that is still convenient. But I'd say like Lex is probably only like a couple months out of prison. Like, it's not like he's been out of prison for a long time.
Like a year,
but I don't think he's like just out. Yeah. No, and he would have to have been in prison a little bit.
It's like Superman. See, that would also be convenient. Superman puts him in prison and then goes to find Krypton.
Yeah, exactly. He literally drops him off and then shoots off into the sky.
And why don't we get that scene at the end? Like, I'm surprised Singer doesn't go all the way in recreating so many different scenes where he also drops him off of the jail like he does at the end of 1.
He should have. Instead, it's like Pirates of the Caribbean. They're stuck on the island.
He just leaves him on that island?
Okay. Yeah.
Because in the theater, I was kind of surprised the movie was over by then, as long as this is. Because in its way, like, this isn't this isn't exactly true, but it almost feels like it doesn't even have a third act.
Well, it's because its third act is so lackluster. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't.
all he does is he picks up the island, which I think they think is this really grand, like, epic thing, but it never feels like it. And I think part of it is that Kryptonite really, at the end of the day, is only as damaging to Superman as the plot needs it to be in the moment.
Yeah, and so you
So,
can't
like,
emotionally connect to it because you don't know what the rules are.
yes, because that entire island is like filled with kryptonite, and he can be around the crystals when he's saving them from the boat, and he's completely fine. He lands on the island, and he's completely fine until the movie decides that it wants him to be surprised that it's full of kryptonite.
Yeah,
When
like
Lex punches
we're
him.
getting way ahead of ourselves, but they try to treat the island, or sorry, the mountain of kryptonite, like Doomsday, right? Like that, the real death of Superman with that. Whether intentionally or not, like we are calling back to Death of Superman with the newspapers, with like Superman is dead, Superman lives. It's really odd that they do a callback to the unmade Superman Lives movie, but they do that, and it feels like the Doomsday fight, even though there's not a fight, even though there's really not much of a climax, because he gets, well, and also because he throws it into space, because in the comics, Superman does eventually throw Doomsday into space. But forgetting that, he takes the Kryptonite Mountain up into space, and he throws it, and he has enough, I guess it's just adrenaline filled, right? Fueled, right? Like, he's got enough strength to do that, but then once he loses it, he goes unconscious and he drops back to the planet and everybody thinks he's dead. And so it's like he beat the Kryptonite Mountain, but the Kryptonite Mountain also beat him. Just like with Doomsday. And the whole thing is massively contrived because he was just almost taken out by Kryptonite in his system.
Yeah, and when he's
And
picking
he
it
also
up, there's
still has a
kryptonite
piece
all
in
around
him.
And that's like the big, like, uh-oh, the kryptonite's coming in, it's coming in, but it's like, it never feels like it's that big of a deal because he can just do it because the plot needs him to do it.
What makes it feel more contrived is that he's out in space with nothing between him and the sun. So he throws that mountain, he's right out there next to the sun, which refuels him. And that's the place where he goes unconscious and drops back to Earth. It's hard to even imagine why he's so affected by it right then. Besides the fact that he does have a piece of it in him, which I didn't even realize until he gets into the hospital and they take it out.
Yeah.
And that by itself makes you go, well, he shouldn't have had the strength to lift the whole island of it. He's got all this kryptonite around him and one in him, and he was powerless against Lex beating the crap out of him in the fortress, but he can do all of that.
No, and that thing with him and the henchman makes him look really pathetic. And, like, that's fine, but there's never the turnaround. Like, it's not like he comes back and he's like, I'm Superman, like,
Yeah, and some people have been complaining that in the Gunn movie, Gunn's overcompensating and making him, like, unnecessarily weak, like, way too often. But I always understand in that movie the reason that he's, like, you can complain that you don't want to see Superman get his ass kicked that much in a movie. Like, that's fine if that's how you feel about it. But I always understand why it's happening. Like, he's fighting a guy that's, like, as strong as he is.
This movie has a regular person drag Superman by the face while Superman begs for him to stop. And then they drop him in a puddle and just take turns kicking him. And there's never a flip around where it's like, oh, but he's Superman. Like,
and that's why it feels like it doesn't have a third act, because he throws the Kryptonite Mountain, and then he is in a coma, and then he comes out of the coma, and then he goes and talks to his kid, and the movie's over. Like, he never has that big showdown with Lex Luthor. He doesn't get round two. He doesn't even get to just go drag Lex to prison, which wouldn't be a climax, but it would be a resolution. I'm sorry, what?
You need some sort of... No, that's the big thing it's missing. You need some sort of resolution between him and Lex.
Yeah, you just don't have that. Because, yes, in the original movie, of course... In the Donner movie, he gets the kryptonite around him with the necklace, and Lex, like, shoves him into the water, But then later he gets his comeuppance. Like Superman
He
gets
gets rough
to
and
do
he's
something.
Superman. He does his thing. The most he does in this, like I said, is he picks up the mountain and throws it into space, and then like instantly dies after that.
And that's, of course,
like
the thing everybody
like I
always
said,
makes
the
fun
mountain
of.
thing-
Is it's just Superman versus a mountain, and I don't know how you make that, and you don't know you're going to get made fun of. Again, like you know, the motion picture, the Star Trek analogy is more apt than I realized, because yeah, that is what Singer thinks he's doing. He's like, this time the real threat's not gonna be like a villain.
Yeah.
It's gonna be his home, which thematically could work.
Yeah, it could have. Well, it's funny too in the game for this. The final boss is a tornado because they couldn't find a way to make fighting a mountain cool from a gameplay perspective. So you fight a tornado instead.
It would just be a quick time event. You just press square over and over again until it's in space.
Press square until you win. Exactly. Oh, that's a good point, RJ Godzilla. They should have had the umpire yell safe after he lands the plane.
That would be great.
That would have been great.
Lois fainting, I hate it.
It is very silly.
And like Kidder wouldn't have fainted.
Doesn't she faint at one point in the original movie over something? Is it in the helicopter scene?
Maybe so, but I guess the problem is just like she's already well acquainted with Superman. Like I get that she didn't expect him to come back and all of that, but it just feels like a really contrived moment. Like I'm not buying that her performance got up to that. I don't know. It just seems like a
I don't feel strongly about it either way. Like it's just that happened. Moving on.
That's just part of my. That's just one more example of I'm just not buying anything that's happening in this movie.
Oh, I'm right. RJ Godzilla says she does faint in the helicopter scene. I thought she did.
So that's why he does that.
But that is also the first time it happens. Like that is where you get the "I've got you, well, who's got you" bit.
Yeah,
that is the first time she's dealing with Superman.
Yeah, this is so superficial about it, and it's like this with a lot of the callbacks, which is another thing that irks me because we do this all the time these days with these decades later sequel things, where we remember a moment, but we don't understand it, and we take it too far. So in the original movie, and I did forget that she fainted, but if that happens, it's because she's seen a supernatural thing happen for the first time. And in this, it's he remembered that happened, so he has that yeah, she would be surprised to see him. You could make an argument for it, but he didn't make me buy it. And you even have little things like in the original movie, she asks how many P's are in the word rapist because she's a bad speller, and that's like an ongoing thing.
Yeah,
she can't spell.
And this one just happened. You were saying this while it was happening, which made it even better. Which is the how many F's are in catastrophe, and I I think it's cute that Lois can't spell. Like I know a lot of people who are good at writing but are bad spellers.
Yeah, I have that. I can't spell for crap.
Yeah, I got some of that too. That's a little too far.
It's too far. Like how many? Like she's gonna know what's a pH, and then she thinks there's more than one of them. No, come on now.
It would be one thing if she thought there was just an F in catastrophe. It's a whole other thing that she thinks there's more than one.
So this sounds like a nitpick, but it's indicative of this larger problem, and that's why I'm bringing it up as an example, where you just don't even understand the original idea, or it generates into self-parody is the problem with it. And again, it feels self-indulgent. It's like I can just go back and watch the original movie. Now, if I was buying this as a Superman 5, as a sequel where we're moving on and we're breaking some new ground, and you could argue, well, he's got like a kid now, like there is new ground that's being built. Yeah, but I gotta buy that these are the same characters in the first place. It doesn't feel like a new Superman movie in that continuity. It feels like I'm just watching a bunch of the same scenes, and then we've tacked on Lois doesn't like Superman anymore because she's upset that he left without saying anything to her, and I hate that as a plot point. And he's got a kid now that he had with her out of wedlock, and I guess I'll bring this up now. But if this was supposed to be in... I'm sure I said this, I talked about this 15 years ago in my rewind.
I think you do, but go for it. Go for it.
This is supposed to be canonical with 1 and 2, or if those events happened in the same universe. Let's say this is like a universe once removed. Boy, I need to know what exactly the situation was when they copulated. Because, hear me out for a second. In Superman 2, they sleep together in the fortress. At the end of Superman 2, the magic kiss happens, and
makes it worse.
And Lois no longer knows that Clark and Superman are the same person. Riddle me this! Does Lois remember having sex with Superman? Because if she does, like, is it a selective case? It's got to be somewhat selective, because she still remembers... like Clark, and I would assume she remembers some of the events in that movie. So I don't know, like, maybe it is that selective, but I need to know, because when in this movie, when this kid throws the piano, is she thinking, oh, holy crap, it's actually Superman's kid, and I remember sleeping with Superman? Or is she going, well, how the hell is that possible? I don't remember ever sleeping with Superman. Like, what exactly is it? And I think Singer maybe thinks that he's covered his bases with this in having the exchange about with I think James Marsden's character about the article "I spent the night with Superman," but like that's not where it would have happened. But it sort of plays in the movie, if you don't remember the Donner movies, or if you never saw them, it sort of plays like we're supposed to think that I spent the night with Superman means they had sex together, and she remembers that, but never knew that Clark and Superman were the same person. Are you with me? That's what that reads like?
Well, I mean, you have some of that, and then, you have Lex questioning it, and then the bit at the end where she tells Clark. So, like, the movie definitely thinks that she knows, at least at a certain point, but I have no idea in what relation to Superman 2 with the magic kiss thing, like how that works, and it does make the magic kiss thing worse. I have no idea.
Yeah, because I don't like the idea that Superman would... And maybe this is just a me thing. I've never really cared for the idea that Superman would sleep with Lois without being on equal footing with her and her knowing his secret. I've never cared for that.
Mm-hmm. Well, now I just think that at the end of Superman 2, Lois is like, oh, like Superman, like, we're dating now. And then he uses his X-ray vision, sees she's pregnant. He's like, oh no. And then he magic kisses her and then flies into space for 5 years.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Like, that's maybe the kiss allows him to rewrite your memories, so she still remembers having sex with Superman, just not that she found out that Superman is Clark.
Or has Singer, in his version of events, retconned it to the point where Lois never knew his secret, but they still slept together? Because it's really ambiguous.
Also, Superman can't practice safe sex.
There's a plug for Mountain Dew. Yeah, that's the other thing I really don't like about it, is I just don't buy that Superman would not be at least attempting to have safe sex if he's gonna do that. And
at the very least, he could do like a morning after spin, like around the world.
That's hilarious, and that's one of my favorite things you've ever said. That's so funny, and that he would. Sorry, so when we get right up on his face when he's flying, could we please have it be actually Ralph's face and not a CG
and there's
cartoon?
no reason it couldn't be.
I hate it. Like, why does it look... I get that that we're trying a lot of things in this movie that CG is early enough that it's hard to pull off and it's really ambitious, and I will give it some of that. It's got some of that Matrix Reloaded thing, where it's trying some things that are just difficult to do. and make look great at that time, and there's no other way to do it. His flying into the camera isn't one of them. That still looks 900 times better in the Donner movie.
Mm-hmm. No, and you can mix it. Like, that's what the next two will do. Like, you can merge CGI with actually filming the actor.
Why does it look simultaneously expensive and lazy? Like, I think...
because it's Bryan Singer making it.
Like, I think Singer is thinking, the effects are good enough to do that now, and if we can pull it off, it will look better if we don't have to put them on wires for it. But it just looks like a 3D cartoon, and also your actor doesn't get to give a performance. And I don't like that. And what sucks is, more than half of his performance is just staring past the camera anyway.
Well, I guess while we're there, too, I don't like how this movie looks almost in general. I don't like how muted a lot of it is, especially on his suit. I don't love that the red is basically brown in places. Like, it's such a dark red. I don't like any of that. There's also just weird choices. Like, I don't really like how he visualizes heat vision or how we do the, like, super hearing thing, like the filter we put over it. There's a lot of just choices I don't like that he makes in this.
Yeah, if you're going to go there, I mean, can I nitpick a superpower?
Yeah.
This is massive nitpicking. If the movie was great, I wouldn't care. What? Mm-hmm. Why does he make his mouth in a big O when he uses his freeze breath? Like, he doesn't like, it looks like he's breathing in almost. Like, he doesn't blow like he does, like Reeve does in like a normal. No, he goes like this. He's like that, and that's how he does his freeze breath. It's so weird.
Because he needs to like really sell that he's breathing hard. You will believe a man can blow is basically what.
It looks like he's sucking in, not blowing out.
Yeah. No, I didn't think about that. You're right. It does kind of look more like sucking than blowing. But I didn't have that thought while seeing it in the movie. But you aren't wrong.
And then, do you have the issue that that a lot of us have had? Because I'm sure I complained about this back in the day when I wrote about this too. But where Superman just kind of looks like a stalker.
Yes. No, he looks so creepy in this movie.
He's spying on Lois, and again, he's got that boyish puppy dog thing where I'm not buying that it's the same character. He seems like a grown ass man before, and he just does it right now. He looks like a dejected, rejected schoolboy. I mean, he's 16 years old, right? He's not that far away from like Welling's Clark with his telescope. Mm-hmm. It's so similar to that.
It reminds me of the Amazing movies, where Peter's got a picture of Gwen Stacy as his wallpaper on his computer before they've really talked. And then you have like all the weird stuff where he's like stalking her into just stuff like that. At least with them, I guess they have chemistry in at least the first movie when they speak, as opposed to here. But it is just unfortunate.
So I kind of like the idea that Superman just stops everything and is listening to all of the chaos that happens on Earth, and I wish we'd talk about these things, but you maybe get the sense of, for a second, of like just how difficult it would be to be Superman, where you have to be selective about what horrible crimes and catastrophes and things you're gonna stop, and then he comes back down to Earth, and it's like there's all of these things he's hearing. You don't really know what any of them are. So, I mean, it's possible there's nothing worse than this that's happening right now. But he goes and he stops these guys in Metropolis, and it's hard not to think, like, why'd you go all the way into space? Because you're just going to go back to the city you usually protect. You know what I mean?
But they wanted that image of him in space looking down at the world. A lot of this movie is just... Well, they wanted the image. Like, that's kind of it.
Well, and I guess Lex and Kitty especially are lucky that all Superman seems to care about is whatever crisis is happening in Metropolis right now. Because if he'd gone out into space and he heard, say, like, a giant earthquake, like a 8.9 on the Richter scale earthquake is happening in Japan, and he goes and he deals with that, Kitty is freaking dead.
Absolutely,
Because
yeah.
Lex cuts her brakes just so that he'll go and save her, and it's like, what if he's nowhere around? Like, yes, he can hear anything he wants to, but we make a big deal out of selective hearing here. He says, like,
Well,
I
there
can
is, like,
hear
one
everything, and then I
token-
narrow it down. Sorry, what?
There is like one token, like, oh, he went to another country and did something, which we get at the end of the scene.
Yeah.
It's playing on the TV, but
Oh, that's true.
no, you're completely right.
Yeah, because for a second it feels like the idea is he is so upset about Lois and her feelings about him right now that he's going to just throw himself into saving people. He's going to throw himself into a Superman work. And I actually think it would have been better if we'd realized that idea more fully and opened with it. Where, like, Superman is not only back, but he's everywhere. And he's trying to, like, make up for lost time and, like, prove that he still cares about humanity. And I almost wonder if there wouldn't have been more of a story here, Austin. And there's like 100 different ways you could rewrite this original idea and make it more effective, right? Like, give me a more believable reason that Superman would leave the planet. If you cared about comics, something out in space might have happened that he felt the need to go deal with. Maybe there are Kryptonians that need his help. Maybe it's Supergirl. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could get Superman off planet, right? And then
He just wanted to get drunk because he's like, oh crap, I'm a dad. I gotta go find a red sun and get wasted.
But what if But see, I don't think he knew he had a kid.
No, I know. I'm just joking.
And so then,
you could have done something else.
So then if you'd done that, you could have had him come back, and the idea could be actually the opposite of what it is, where people aren't that happy that he's back because they're upset with him for letting all these bad things happen. And you could kind of play the, like, why does God let bad things happen to good people angle. And I don't need us to make a big deal out of Superman as a god, but there's a little bit of a hint, I don't even know if Singer's thinking about it, but there's a hint of the idea of over reliance on Superman, because we have a line that was maybe unused. I don't know if it was in any of the other movies from Brando's Jor-El. I don't know if you noticed it, but there's a place where Brando's Jor-El has a line about how people, I'm paraphrasing because I forget what exactly the line is, but that people on Earth will come to expect you to do those things that they could do themselves. And you could play that angle, and then you could have him come back, and it's not just Lois Lane that's with the article Why the World Doesn't Need Superman. It's like a lot of the public, and he's got to like make people believe in him again. And then you could really play into that meta narrative idea of like the real world doesn't know why this character matters anymore. But you make it less about we need to like rely on him to save people, and you make it more about the lessons he's not been here to teach us, and then that's maybe the arc he has to go through, where he comes back and he's just saving everybody, and he realizes, yeah, I really can't be in every place at once, and then he learns how to be the symbol again. I'm just saying there could be a story there, maybe.
Yeah, no, potentially. Like, this is set up for the one thing he'll do, which is that. Even, the other plane, like,
it's Action Comics #1, so he can be like, see, I have a reference to a comic book. I'm sorry, what?
No, I just said even with the plane, that is technically how he beats it. He just goes, I got it.
Yeah, that's all he does. Austin's been on about this lately, where he was glad that the new James Gunn movie only had Superman really do that the one time, and that he doesn't.
Well, you can have Superman pick things up like he should, but he should also do more than just picking things up. Your climax should not be, oh, look, he picked up a really big rock.
I'm sorry about that long diatribe, but that was a big point I wanted to make.
No, it's okay. No, I agree. You could have done something with that. Lex also, with the wig that he wears here, kind of looks like an older version of Eisenberg Lex. I don't know if you had that.
Yeah, I didn't think of that, but you're not wrong. Austin, I want to hear you pitch a better way to get Superman off Earth than just they found where his planet was. Because do you agree with me that he just would have already known where it was?
Yeah, I would think so. I'd imagine when Jor-El... Well, there's like the whole thing too in that original movie, and it's like how much is Clark seeing this? Where like you go into Brando and you're like seeing space.
Oh, did you see it? I didn't notice that before. Addis Ababa?
No.
You gotta have that reference.
You gotta reference everything, Cap. Remember?
But yeah, because they said that's where the kryptonite came from, is Addis Ababa, which is in the first movie. They got that in there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you gotta reference everything, Cap, because remember it?
But anyway, so how would you get him off planet?
He fought Mongol in space.
Yeah. Anything.
Literally anything, yeah. And you could have opened with that. Like, you could have had some sort of action scene in your first 5 minutes. It would have been really unfortunate if the only action is in the first 5 minutes.
Well, and I actually think there's a big problem with Superman going all the way to where Krypton was and actually doing anything else in space, because you'd have a time displacement. I would actually think it would be more than 5 years. I'm not even sure. But
I guess just how fast like his Kryptonian ship can fly.
The way the cut opening watches, and I don't know if this is intended, there's no talk about it, but the way that watches is that Superman flies out in his ship, gets hit by kryptonite real quick, like charts a course back for Earth, and then the ship comes back to Earth. I don't think the whole thing took 5 years from his perspective. I think it was time displacement.
Mm-hmm. No, I would think so too. He's probably gone for like a day, a couple of days.
Which is why if you had him do anything else out in space, it doesn't actually really work. Like, I've never read the prequel comics, and I don't know, and I have them. I might try to review those at some point, finally. I've never actually read that. But if that has him out in space fighting bad guys and stuff, I actually don't think it works. I think you have to have the time displacement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
She's done Superman. Good one.
Why does Clark react like that? He's also like, ooh.
Because he's, like I keep saying, a sick lost puppy, and he's waiting for her to throw him any sort of a bone, even though she doesn't know that he's Superman right now. So, like, the fact that she says that has him for a second going, yeah, she liked it too.
Lois also just calls Parker Posey a hooker for wearing a blouse and like a Charlie Chaplin hat. That's rude, Lois.
And I don't know, this is just not the same character, and I don't think they get her. Like, the thing Perry says, I forget where it is, where maybe it's about to come up, because she doesn't want to cover Superman, and Perry keeps saying, like, you have an in with Superman, you need to be the one that covers it. He says, we all know that you can't write for crap about sex, and I'm like, really? Like, Lois Lane can't write about sex? Like, she's written in the original movies as real kind of hip and with it. In a way that Clark isn't. I mean, like, that's the difference between them. And also, I'm not sure I buy the woman that has the audacity to say, use your X-ray vision to tell me what color of underwear I'm wearing. Can't write about sex. I don't know, that's weird.
No, if you were to chart every character in this film by their place in the knows what sex is or doesn't, and has had sex or hasn't place, she is on has had sex, does not know what sex is place. That would be her part of the chart.
You mean this version?
That's why this version, yeah.
This version.
But that's also why she doesn't know how many P's are in the word rapist.
That's so funny.
You can't write about sex.
Knows what sex is. Does not know what sex is. Has had it.
No, and Lex would be under the knows what sex is, has not had sex place. That's where he is in it.
I think he has had sex with this woman, and I think neither of them enjoyed it. That's where I'm.
They both cried after.
He lit up a cigar. She took a walk around the block.
Lex tried on a couple wigs. It was not a good time. Not Otis could hear it, too. It was very awkward.
Joel Davis put in a $5 super chat. If you're stuck on an island with only Superman Returns or Man of Steel, which one do you watch? You can't opt out and watch neither. Well, that's really easy for me, because I like Man of Steel a lot more than Austin does, and certainly more than Nez. I still have huge issues with it, and I've liked it less every time I've seen it since the theater. But I still think it works a lot better than this does.
If you asked me a day ago, I would say this, but having rewatched it 100%, it's Man of Steel. I would much rather watch Man of Steel over this.
And that tells you just how far down this has gone for Austin, because he's really bored by Man of Steel. We just watched it a couple of weeks ago on DCEU Mania.
No, there's at least some ideas and stuff I like in Man of Steel, even though they're not really fleshed out. I don't even like the ideas that they're not fleshing out.
Yeah. Well, again, very, very basic ideas. I'm open to. That's as much praise as I can give this, Austin. Where I'm like, the idea of Lex trying to supplant Superman's new home with his old home after he abandoned it to go find his old home and it was empty. Again, I don't even know how you realize it, but thematically, I write that idea down and I go, there's something there. I think I would ultimately, if I was trying to write this movie, throw that away and come up with a different idea, because I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it probably feels like a sequel to a movie we didn't make.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing is Superman's going to leave Earth for 5 years. For however you want to contrive that, I want to see that movie.
Mm-hmm. Or even if that's your climax, Superman has to leave at the end of a movie, and then he gets back, and that's the big shocker ending is that, oh man, 5 years have gone by, I've been gone for a couple days. Also, I'd never thought about this until today. Richard White, my boy Dick White, my favorite name in the movie.
Oh, you gotta have this moment. I didn't notice that before. You gotta have that moment where he's got the glasses off and he's thinking about showing her that he's Superman, and that we hit every single one of those beats. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yep. I was gonna say he is the original Paul from Spider-Man. Time has gone by where these two characters are separated for some reason, and now Lois, or Mary Jane, has kids and is married or engaged in this case with Paul or Dick White. He is the original Paul.
So you always talk about Paul. I never know what you're talking about. So now I understand who that is. Okay.
Yeah.
You bring this up all the time,
and
I'm like, I don't know who the hell Paul is. I don't know what we're talking about.
Because he's the most hated character in Amazing Spider-Man at this point. Because he is this character. He is Mary Jane gets lost in another dimension for a couple years. That's only a week for Peter, a month, and then she comes back and now she has kids with this guy named Paul that she's married to. It's almost the exact same thing.
Well, and that's nuts. That's hilarious. Why would anybody write that and think that we'd be excited about that? It's the worst kind of love triangle, because you know how it's going to ultimately wind up, and if it doesn't wind up like that, then you're just reading this for issues and issues, going, I hate this guy.
Well, the Spencer run got them back together, and then the next writer, which is Zeb Wells, takes over and does that, and it's a time skip. So it's literally one issue they're together, the next issue they're not anymore. Now she's with Paul.
Oh, no. So I don't know how we're already in hour 10 in and I haven't mentioned this yet, but one of the ways that this is separated so much from the Donner movies, even though he's wanting to make a Donner thing, and one of the reasons it feels like this is not the same Superman and he's so lovesick puppy dog, is it's written to me like a TV pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because Starship the Motion Picture was based on a TV pilot script, but like in this for very different reasons. Like it feels like and I know I say this all the time, but it really does have that CW thing where we've got to contrive a love triangle and real forced character drama by throwing our main character under the bus and have him doing something really pathetic and stupid and I don't know, just cowardly in order to set the whole thing up. So, like, you wouldn't have any of this friction with him and Lois if he had just told her that he needed to leave the planet. And I don't buy, again, that the original character, who was a real, I hate to say it like this, a real man, wouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
This is like a 16-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm. Well, and in terms of like the TV pilot thing too, and motion picture, like motion picture, very much is that kind of a script, but Robert Wise is, an amazing director and elevates that. Like even like I like a couple Bryan Singer movies. I've never thought he was the best director. Like I've always thought he was a good TV director, and like that's kind of it. So like this doesn't have that same cinematic quality, and it really thinks that it does.
Yeah.
And that's part of why it's so dull. Where like none of this actually feels grand or epic or just like monumental in scope.
Well, and you sent me an interview that he did recently, which was
like a month ago,
which was bizarre to me, just because of the social standing that he has now. But he did an interview with a channel. I've seen that guy before. He talks a lot about Star Trek, and he's been in the business. Like I can't. He's done like DVD documentaries and that kind of stuff.
Oh, it's Robert Meyer Burnett.
Burnett.
Yeah.
And anyway, they did like a 10-minute phone call interview. Or maybe that was just a snippet from that interview. I'm not even sure. But you sent me that, and he talked about it like, and you could kind of tell in his voice that like he knows that this movie didn't turn out super well, but he's also talking about it like people wanted an action blockbuster in the middle of the summer, and that's just not what he wanted to make. And he talks about it almost like it's just like too talky and not supposed to be a big grand epic thing. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm calling BS on that.
Mm-hmm. No, because this movie is genuinely boring. And it's not just because he doesn't throw punches. Like, you could have made this work without that.
Well, and like, let your Superman talk about stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look at Hulk. We talked about that recently. Like, that is a movie that people went into like, oh, Hulk's gonna smash stuff real good, and then you don't really get a lot of that. And both of us were like, oh, but this is still an interesting movie despite that. Like,
no, it wanted to be something different. It wanted to be a psychological thriller. This wants to be the same movie that the original was, which was grand in scope, even though it didn't have Superman punching a lot of people. And it's not like it's a deep character study.
Mm-hmm. No, of course. And obviously, it's a very different type of movie than Hulk. I'm just using that as the example. Like, it doesn't need to be action-packed. Like, it doesn't need to be, Superman's throwing punches every 5 seconds.
That's what I'm saying, is that movie, as flawed as it is, did what Singer's kind of pretending like or claiming he did. Like, that movie, it was a different kind of movie.
It also has a better payoff when you finally get Hulk stuff, and he's doing Hulk stuff, and it's not just Superman going,
yeah,
as he picks up a stupid rock.
This movie, and that also has a real, like anticlimactic thing at the end, but it's more interesting. I don't know. Uh,
Absolutely.
it's interesting that you bring that movie up too, because listen real close in the third act with all of the giant Kryptonite mountain stuff. The score, and I usually love Ottman, but the score rips off the theme from that movie. It's in here.
Really?
Yes.
Fascinating.
Now, it might not have been intentional, but it's weird that this comes out 2 years after that and goes into production as that movie comes into the theater. It's all I'm saying.
Weird.
Yeah.
Singer's like, okay, Ottman, you know what to do.
And he was not right for this. I'm sorry to say. Like, of course, half of what he's doing has to just be riffing on the John Williams score, and then the other half sounds like a generic version of stuff he's done in other movies. And in the same way that I don't think the attempts at like making it look like a Donner movie are fitting with Singer's directing style, I think the same thing's happening at the score.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying I want them to just straight up copy another guy, but it feels like that's what they want to do. It's like Singer just wants to make a shot-by-shot remake. Like, he just wants to do the Psycho thing.
Oh, and Superman looks so creepy in this scene when he's staring down at her with, like, the frown.
Yeah.
No, he's looking at her with murderous intent. I don't like it.
And this is a rough script. Like, your kind of repeated thematic line between them is "I'm always around." Like, okay,
but you weren't.
Like, I guess the idea is I've come back now, and I'm promising I won't leave again. But like, we don't let him actually get into it, and so we think we're being kind of just cute with that, and it comes off like awkward, and like, again, he's just kind of cowardly. He won't say what's on his mind. That works to varying degrees in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. I think some scenes, the kind of hemming and hawing with Peter Parker, Mary Jane not being able to quite get the words out they want to get out, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This is not the place for that. It doesn't make any sense that this character has that problem. Look, that's the name of the movie.
Superman Returns. It is the name of the movie.
Okay, there is one.
That's exactly what I said about this movie. Is this real?
Okay, Austin. There is one big positive I'm going to give this movie. Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it.
The title is Superman Returns.
And he returns.
And he actually, legitimately, in the film, comes back. Not just to the theater.
I'm gonna ding it for that. They should have gone for the full Batman thing and called it Superman Returns, even though he's not actually returning. It's symmetry. It's like poetry, right?
You want them to open the movie where Clark is like sitting in his apartment, and then he has like all these
sitting in the fortress.
I was gonna say that, but it doesn't actually make sense for what I'm making fun of. But like he's sitting in his apartment, and then he has all these like S's that flash like in his yard and like on the wall, and like where everyone can see that he's Superman.
Well, it would be in the fortress, but instead of S's, it would just be Marlon Brando's. Like they start like flashing everywhere, and then there's one right behind him, and then he stands up in front of it, and he's like, "I gotta become Superman again."
Yeah, but that's not as silly because there's not anybody around to. Oh,
it'll be in the Daily Planet. He's sitting at his desk.
Yeah, it's gotta be somewhere where he can be outed. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, there. It'll be at the Daily Planet.
This is just not the place to do like a kind of brooding Superman. Or with this premise, could you sort of, Austin, make it work if you made us buy the reason he left in the first place, where where it's like choosing your loyalties problem. Like I would I would need the right idea in getting him into space in the first place, where it's like he went out and felt like he did something he really had to do, and then when he came back, everybody moved on. Like, I maybe he'd be kind of brooding about that. But again, too much of it is just I didn't have the guts to tell my girlfriend I was leaving. I don't know.
There is a part that just happened that did kind of remind me of the new movie where he gets back to the fortress and the crystals are gone and then he flies off all angry. And we just cut to a Lois subplot where I'm like, oh, that's the part where you have, that office scene in the new movie where it's like, oh, he goes off and he does something. Here it's like he goes off all angry and we're just not going to see him for the next 20 minutes. Like, what is he doing?
Like, he doesn't do anything in this movie. And that's the sad thing for Routh is it's not fair to look at him in this movie and go he's not doing a good job or he can't act. He's not given an opportunity to. At any point, he's cast to mug and brood, and that's it.
He is cast in this movie in the same way you cast somebody at like Universal Studios theme park to be like, this is the character that meets all the guests. Like, you are our Superman. You kind of look like Superman. You kind of got this. Go interact with the park goers. Like that.
No, that's it.
That is his role in this.
He's cast to be a model and not an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
No, so that's another point. It's him and Bosworth are the two big ones. Like, I don't know where to fall on them because they weren't even given a chance.
I'm not saying this is
like I don't like them in this movie, but that's not their fault.
It's not their
entirely.
fault. I'm not saying this is what happened. So this would be not trying to be disingenuous when I say this, but it almost watches like they cast him, didn't trust that he could actually deliver dialogue, and axed all of his dialogue.
Yeah, it's possible.
It kind of watches. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying it kind of watches like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because why would a director so enamored with what Donner did in wanting to go back to that material give that version of Superman nothing to say? Like, that's a Superman that I'm not saying he's talking every scene or like he's constantly rambling, but like that's a character that talks. Like, he's opposite from Batman. He's got a lot to say.
Mm-hmm. This is the only other line from him I could have quoted, which is the Lois Lane with the toothbrush in his mouth.
Yeah, that was sort of funny in the theater.
Yeah, it is unfortunate though that like his most memorable moment is to Lois Lane and not something with Superman. Not that like your main villain has to have their most memorable bit with the hero, but it is a little unfortunate.
No, what it actually has in common with the new movie, not to spoil too much if you haven't seen that yet, but that Lex and Superman have very little screen time together.
Mm-hmm. But they also use every like bit of screen time with them, like, to the best they can.
In the new one, yeah.
No, because I'm fine with that as a choice, because you also have that with the original movie. Like, they maybe have two scenes together.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm just making an observation that it's a thing they both happen to do. Yeah.
No, of course. But that lair scene is like amazing. Where they're playing off each other. It's so good. Like, this is probably the closest you have to that, and it's with Lois Lane, and he's talking about how this is a reunion, and I don't think they ever interact in the first two movies. They don't meet in the first one, and they have like one scene where they're in the same room in the second one.
Yeah, I don't know that they have much of an exchange in that scene.
Yeah, I don't think they do, because he's just working with Lex in that, or with himself. He's just working with Zod in that scene.
Victor Herman had a 49 super chat. Richard Donner was still directing movies in 2006. Should he have directed this, or was the whole concept of a legacy sequel doomed from the start? That's hard to say. I mean, it really depends on what...
It is hard to say. It's maybe a little late for Donner to come back to it. I know I've heard stories that like he wanted to do a fifth movie with Brainiac, but I think that was more in like the 90s. So it's maybe a little late for him to come back by this point. But I mean, it probably would have been better than this.
I'm gonna say if he had suggested it to the studio, they might have jumped at it. Because the only thing, like, I'm so perplexed by this. John Peters and the executives at Warner's make a really big deal when this happens about how great the pitch was, and the idea is Bryan Singer, like he was supposed to make X3, of course, and
he was making a remake of Logan's Run with them, I think, too, and drops out to do this.
Yeah, and he goes to Laura Schuler Donner, who of course produced the X-Men movies. That's his in with this, and makes a suggestion of what he'd make if he made a Superman, and she likes it so much that she goes to Warner's with it, and then they give it to him. And the only thing I can figure with his pitch that they were so enamored with, and take me a minute to break this down because this is another big point I wanted to make, is that they, in their previous attempts at rebooting this that fell apart, were going to comics, we're going to something real different from Donner. And it's now been long enough, they're thinking maybe we can do it in banking on nostalgia now. And so it ends up being the exact opposite of what you have with Batman Begins. Where 7 years after Batman and Robin, they go, we need a completely different take, and we will take the risk to let somebody come in and do something like totally opposite and totally different from what we've had before, and actually do an origin with Batman. And with this, there's the obligatory wrong scene.
It's the only thing anyone remembers that he ever did.
Yeah.
Anytime Spacey Lex comes up, the immediate reaction is wrong.
Just wrong. Yeah. Well, it's such cannon fodder, right? Where, like, so much about this movie doesn't work and feels wrong, and so just really easy whenever this comes up, where you're like, oh, yeah, Superman Returns, it was wrong!
Yeah, no, and it is great.
But I think it was... I think everything about that pitch for them was just, oh, yeah, it didn't occur to us to just go back and do the Donner continuity again. And maybe that's... like, because again, we keep trying other things, and for whatever reason, they keep falling apart.
Yeah, I think that helps over Batman, and that Batman doesn't have that. So it's like they tried the different take, and it took off. Superman, they kept trying to come up with different takes, and it doesn't. So then they go, what do we do? Back to formula.
Well, and what I was gonna say though is, they start work on this in 2004. Which is a year before Batman Begins comes out. And I think if Begins had dropped and had the critical acclaim it did before this took off, this would have also fallen apart, and they wouldn't have actually made it.
That is possible, yeah.
I really believe that. I think Warner's would have gone, oh, wait, no, that's the ticket. We should kind of stay the course with Superman and just do something kind of more grounded and realistic. Because what's interesting about it is, then when you get to Man of Steel, that's exactly what they do, is they try to just make the Batman Begins for Man of Steel all the way down to a lot of the same creative team.
And we should also probably throw out, too, while you're mentioning this, like, whatever Superman movie put out...
Listen for it. That's the Hulk theme.
Oh, yeah, it is kind of like the Hulk theme.
It's exactly the same. It's that same downward chord progression. The dun 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 dun. It's exactly the same.
When you said it, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to remember it well enough. And then the second I heard it, I was like, oh, no, that is it. Yep. That's really weird. Okay. Well, I mean, he's putting a green thing in.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I heard it, and I was like, I wanted everybody to listen to that because it's there.
No, I was just gonna say we should also probably mention that, like, whatever Superman movie came out here, was probably going to be hurt at the box office by the fact that it had to shoulder all of the failed attempts. Like that is a big part of why this movie cost so much, is that it had to take on the money that they spent on Flyby and Lives, and like that's part of its budget.
Yeah, that's true, but it could have been a Begin situation where it was a critical darling but didn't do huge guns. So
Yeah.
then there'd be some forward momentum where people would be excited about the next one, and they could make it up in the back end.
No, I agree with that. I just wanted to throw that out before somebody was like, "Well, hold on,
Well,
you gotta remember that actually, like this movie did have to shoulder that, and that is true." But, anyways, now it's said. So
I think I'm glad you said that. That was very important. It was obligatory, like wrong. I think looking at the respective histories of these characters is really interesting, because of how relatively early before Superman, Batman finally managed to get to a real character-driven place with that character. Like, whether you see Nolan's movies as definitive Batman or like a straight off the page as you want them to, and whether you feel like we finally did it right with the Batman with that stuff. The like Batman Begins is actually a character-driven movie that's about Bruce Wayne and gives him a character arc, and it took us forever before we could finally get to that. And you have this really interesting trajectory where it starts with like the popular, like in the zeitgeist Batman for the longest time, of course, was campy Batman, and then we go like hardcore to the nines opposite of that with 89. But what we lose there, arguably, even though I love that movie, is like heart and soul, right? And we don't really gain that until we get to Begins. And weirdly, we kind of flip back around through the 90s, gradually going more toward the campiness. With Superman, the definitive version is the smarter, arguably somewhat more character-driven version that you get with Donner. And it gets campier as it goes along, too. And then where it diverges is when we finally make another one years later, like we did with Begins, although Begins a lot fewer years later, we end up with just kind of trying more of the same, but also sort of contemporizing it with this. But in so doing, we lose the heart of it. And so then, when we make Man of Steel, in kind of trying to do the Batman Begins for Superman, we still can't really get the heart of it back. And the point I'm trying to make is, Batman finds that a lot earlier, and it, to my mind, takes all the way to, and I like some things about Man of Steel, but it takes all the way to 2 weeks ago before we finally, with Superman, character-wise, we managed to get to what Nolan did in 2005.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. No, what was going to say with that? Oh yeah, also like, yes, Man of Steel also very Begins, 100%. That movie is also partly looking at this, where it's like, what are the reasons this failed?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I heard somebody the other day, because a lot of people obviously are looking at the new one as a response to Man of Steel, and of course, but I saw somebody the other day say that you can look at both Man of Steel and the new one as two very distinctly different directors, both responding to the criticisms of this movie. And I don't know how wrong that is, because like I can kind of see that to a degree, but I don't think that was necessarily the main driving force. But I do think that this movie has kind of haunted this character since it's come out.
No, and I also think the main driving force with Gunn is just he's actually trying to adapt from the source material.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a way that, honestly, nobody ever has. And you could make the argument that that is kind of true with Batman all the way up until you get to the Batman, at least to some degree.
No, I think that's a fair comment. Superman's son just straight up murders a clown man here.
I
The
don't.
clown tattoo thing is so weird.
I don't know. I don't know why that's there.
I think it's just like it's kind of like a cool detail, like it's something you'll remember, but it's so just weird.
Uh,
Weird.
now I'm I'm being like really broad with what I just said about the Batman, because Batman Begins is written by Goyer, who actually knows comics and is looking at Denny O'Neil and stuff like that, and like obviously we're adapting from some specific things with Dark Knight. So even if like Nolan himself has a read on that character that is like not my Batman from comics exactly, we're still more interested in actual comic material than we ever have been with Superman movies up until 2 weeks ago.
Well, and Gore's weird too.
I just want to be fair to those movies.
He's written scripts for like every comic book character ever, but at the same time will say things like She-Hulk only exists to give Hulk somebody to have sex with, which is weird because that's his cousin. So it's like,
Yeah, well,
Goyer is a fascinating man.
I don't mean to say that he knows about every comic character, but if you listen to him talk about Batman, and he talks about what his specific influences were with Begins, like I recently listened to the interview that he did for the 20th anniversary of Begins, and he he talks about like reading the Denny O'Neil run with Ra's al Ghul when he was a kid, and like you can tell where some of his influences with some of the choices with that movie came from. He knows what the League of Assassins is and was annoyed that they forced him to change it to the League of Shadows. Like he knows some stuff. It is weird that and I'm getting away from this. We'll get back to this. There's Lex playing his sailing video game where he's got to set the waypoints and then get get to the waypoints. But it's too bad he doesn't have fast travel. But anyway, Goyer. The hell was I talking about with that?
The Goyer likes comics and talked about like
the
new Neil
it's
stuff
weird that the way he pronounces Ra's al Ghul, because he splits the middle and says Rosh. It's really weird, and like consistently he pronounces it that way.
Oh no, he has a third pronunciation.
Yeah, he's given us yet a third pronunciation.
He watches every version of that character and is like, why are they pronouncing it weird?
Nobody knows how to say it right.
Everybody knows it's Rosh.
Rosh al Ghul.
He's like, I gotta get some cream better Rosh.
He said that early drafts of Begins actually included a Lazarus bit, or they talked about using it.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
So he probably disagrees with my take on Ra's al Ghul on that movie, possibly.
What's that?
That it is like a name that gets passed down, and what's his face? Liam Neeson isn't like really Ra's al Ghul. He's just like the next one.
No, the way he talks about it is exactly the way I've always seen it, which is they intended it to be 100% ambiguous and it could go either way. So he says that it was, this is what I've always said, he said it was completely intended, sorry, we'll get back to this movie.
We've just run out of things to say about this movie.
Hey, look, I think that's actually his face there, for a second.
Yeah, and then we have like a really weird way of visualizing his X-ray vision here, because it's like at the bottom of the frame, like it's not even taking up the full shot. It's really weird.
Well, it's even weirder in the deleted scenes, because there's a deleted scene where he looks at a stack of newspapers. Have you seen this? And he finds Lois's article, "Why the World Doesn't Need Superman," in the middle of a stack of newspapers, and the way they visualize his X-ray vision is he's able to take newspapers mentally off the stack. So like it just like flips down, and yeah, it's dumb.
Also, I just want to throw out again,
yeah.
I hate how this movie looks. I hate how dull the colors are and how bland it is visually.
Yeah.
It's so muted.
Oh, hey, can I say a positive thing?
Go for it.
I think the kid's good.
Yeah, he's fine.
like, I'm not saying I love that character, what they give him to do, but I think he's good. The bit where he he says he's sorry to his mom is like legit kind of sad, and I don't actually
it's a nice
know
moment.
like if he is apologizing for wrecking the piano or apologizing for not being able to like use his super strength, like because she tries to get him to get them out of that room, and he just says I'm sorry in like I've done a bad thing, but I don't actually understand what it is sort of way. I'm not really sure which way it goes, but that's
Probably be
a
a little
moment
bit
I
of both.
actually felt something, Austin.
It's the fact that he killed a man, and Lois is never gonna mention that.
Yeah, he's gonna need therapy for life.
Mm-hmm. If only Superman would kill him in the sequel.
Oh no. But anyway, real quick, I was just gonna say, Goyer confirms that the idea there was it was always supposed to be that when Ducard has the like we put the plague rats on the ship line and all of that, that like that could be what you're saying, that he could have been there, or it could have just been a bunch of different people through the years that called themselves that. Like it's supposed to be MB. Like when he says are my methods supernatural, like that's supposed to be an intentional ambiguous question.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I mean, I do think it works better. My read, that's just not just because I'm like, oh, well, this is my read of it, but I do think it works better with like the whole theatrics and like you make yourself more than just a man
Oh
thing.
yeah, fair enough. I just kind of like the idea that we never know. But then, if,
No, and that's part of it. Like I agree. Like I like that you don't know, but that's probably what it is. Because again, it's like that you're making yourself bigger than just a person. Like
'cause
it is.
at the end of that
Like
movie
the
when it came
theatrical
out,
way.
I really expected Ra's al Ghul to be back from the dead in a sequel.
They
I
have to collect his ashes and put them in the.
And
in
if
the
they had
library.
done that, yeah, I mean they just say he left out at the last minute and he broke every bone in his body, but then he got Steve. Ubu showed
No,
up and took him to the Lazarus
he
pit.
rolled, so he was okay.
Well, I guess this is the most action packed this movie's gonna get.
Well, this is your like natural disaster thing at the end of the original movie.
Yeah, and to the point where he's got to fly in a fire under the sewer again, like we did this,
And it looks terrible.
and it looks kind of cool in the Donner movie.
Well, because he's like flying through like molten lava in the original.
He's flying through lava.
There's his is he sucking or blowing face you were talking about.
Yeah. How do you even blow like that?
He's simultaneously sucking and blowing, so he can blow freeze breath and bring in more air to breathe out as freeze breath.
This is easily the classiest commentary we've recorded thus far.
It is. There's nothing wrong with that.
And Jimmy
You
Olsen
suck
is,
in air, you blow
and
out
Jimmy
air.
Olsen is in this movie just to promote Nikon.
Also, Superman's going to do a thing here that is a major asshole move, which is he could put this globe anywhere, but instead he's going to crush someone's car with it.
Yeah, good
He can
call.
put it literally anywhere. He could even fly it back up to the roof if he wanted to.
Well, and again, if you played more with how much worse off the world is without Superman, and how much people maybe use him as a crutch, and the culture of dependence thing, Superman with the Daily Planet globe on his back like that is is an Atlas image. It's like, you know, he's got the world on his shoulders. In this movie, it doesn't mean a lot. And like we went to Prometheus at the beginning, we could do a whole, you know, gaggle of Greek mythology metaphors with this.
Absolutely. Well, and you know, the island thing, like it could be like your Trials of Hercules type thing. It just never really plays like that.
Oh, good call. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what Captain Coon's talking about. He put in a $2 super chat and says, "But guys, what about the kryptonite condom? What kryptonite condom?"
Well, no, he's saying like that's safe sex for Superman. He could have a kryptonite condom. I mean, I feel like that would hurt, but at the same time,
it could kill you. But then again, there's always the question of how much can he have on him before it really is deadly.
Maybe Superman's just a fan of the song "Hurts So Good." You know, he's a believer in that philosophy.
I mean, depending on your continuity, and it would be very strange to actually write this into a story, but that would potentially be the way for Superman to be able to have sex without being afraid he's going to hurt the other person. But then also he might give the girl radiation poison.
Well, not only that, but it would be pleasant for no one, because kryptonite's also a rock.
Yeah,
so it'd be like...
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't be physical contact, and then also for the other person, it's a rock.
It's a rock. That's not how that works.
I feel like that would hurt.
But anyway, I want to go back a few scenes and just, I don't know why I just thought of this now, but
can we like magic kiss our way of like not talking about kryptonite condom?
That's the magic of the super chat. You're forced to. It is immortalized now in the classiest commentary we've ever recorded.
No, we need to take up. What was it I said at the beginning? The morning after spin. We need one of those to get rid of that.
Yes, we do. Yeah, well, I don't feel like you need a morning after spin after you've used a kryptonite condom. I think at that point you're just never gonna have sex again. At least the other person. Sorry, you're trying to move past this conversation.
It would castrate both of them, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, this is out of character for me, but there's a part of me that just wants to keep going with this line of reasoning. I want to go back a few scenes, though.
Maybe the Thing has a kryptonite. Anyways, okay, what were you going to say?
So, I want to go back a few scenes and just say I really hate the contrived moment for Superman taking Lois into the sky and doing the "can you read my mind" thing. Because first of all, it's just a really awkward scene because of course she doesn't want anything to do with it, and that just happens because that's the big romantic scene in the first movie. And so there's this moment where she's like, where he goes, "come with me" or "fly with me" or something, and she's like, "Why?" And
well, I think that's what she said when they had Jason, but yeah, they do fly off together.
And literally, the response, it feels like it should be, because this moment has to happen in this movie.
Yeah, because you want to do the "can you read my mind"
Well, because
moment.
he says, "I want to show you something." And then he just flies her up into the sky, and they call back to the part where he was in space, where he was listening down to everyone, and he says, "I can hear everyone's." And like, I like the sentiment of this, okay, Austin, where he's like, "I can hear everyone at once," and you wrote an article saying why the world doesn't need Superman, but I hear like every day people crying out for a savior, and I'm like, okay, first of all, you're just reminding me about how that article just sounds passive-aggressive, and I kind of want to know what the substance of it was, because I don't even know what she could have written that anybody in this world would buy into enough to give her a freaking Pulitzer when everybody is happy he's back. It should have gotten her fired. Like, I don't even understand any of that. And also, how long ago did she write that? Because she's been gone 5 years, but she's only gonna get the Pulitzer now. And also, that timing is very convenient. That, like, she's about, as he comes back, she's about to go to the ceremony to get that. That's weird. Right?
Yeah. Well, it must be a more recent article. It's got to be, like, within the last year.
She's been pissed all this time, and she finally wrote that article. And then, secondly, it's, again, such a contrived way to get them into the "can you read my mind" mode, because they're up there and he's like, "I want to show you something." And it's like, You didn't show her anything. You could have said that standing on that roof. Like, why do you need to be up in the sky? It's not like she has your super hearing. Like,
well, he
what
was
is it
showing
about
her the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. No, I mean, I guess just like a perspective thing. Like,
Okay.
look at this. That's your Green Goblin. There are like 5 million people in this city.
And yes, maybe yeah, that's right. And maybe I'm nitpicking that, but my point is Singer just needed to have that moment because it's Donner Superman, and the score drives me nuts during that whole business because it's dancing around. Can you read my mind? Like every now and again, it feels like it's almost about to get into that, but it doesn't quite do it, and then finally it starts getting into that, and I'm like, but it's premature because this isn't especially romantic. She doesn't like him right now, and so like maybe the idea is you want to have it because she is a little bit nostalgic for that and is pushing against it, but like can't help but still feel something about it. Like I guess I get that, but I don't like the score during all of that. I don't know.
There's also, and I almost brought it up when we were there. When they land, there is on premise a really cool shot, which is because she takes her shoes off and then they fly off, and it's his boots and her feet, and in the background is her heels, and there's like a split second where they start to line up, but they didn't properly align it, where it's like it was almost a cool shot where it's like her feet like are like they look like they're onto her heels as they're landing, but it's not because they didn't line it up properly, because this movie was made by a hack.
Yeah, I don't know why he's evoking like Jurassic Park 3
even at this stuff, like there should be kryptonite in all of this rock. Like he should already be feeling the effects of this, I would think. Like even when he's lifting the ship out.
Yeah, there's a weird justification for it in the synopsis I read on Wiki, and I don't know who wrote this. Now, I wanted to bring this up because I'm wondering how many people like have bought into this, or this is something Singer said. Like, I wonder if this comes from somewhere, if it was just some fan trying to make it make sense.
Yeah, go for it.
But the justification I read is, and as if we're supposed to understand this watching the movie, is that there is so much rock between him and the kryptonite, he doesn't feel the effects of it. Which, A, like, it's not lead, so I don't really understand that. And B, that would suggest that it's not all of the kryptonite in the mountain that almost kills him, it's just the one that's in him.
But, like, even then, like, where he is right now, like, there's kryptonite right next to his foot when he steps down on that step. And, like, that's enough that Lex is going to be able to hit him, but, like, he didn't notice that?
How's he not passing out right now?
Well, how's he not just like, oh, like, I feel a little queasy. Like, this is weird. Like, I don't feel quite right. Why is it a reveal to Superman when Lex punches him? Especially because we already know. Like, how is this something that had to be, like, a surprise?
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's kryptonite bouncing up into the frame when he drops.
That's what I'm saying.
That's how much there is.
All around him. And this is why him lifting the mountain doesn't, like, have any impact, because he was able to walk around on this island completely fine, and there was no sense that he was in any danger until Lex punched him. Like, because kryptonite only matters for what the plot needs it to be.
And this is the ultimate example of that. That's why you really only want to use kryptonite sparingly and as an excuse to weaken him. Like, I guess there's merit in trying to make a big thematic idea out of it. Again, with the whole, like, his home is what weakens him and his real home is on Earth. But we just take it too far in having him carry a whole mountain of it. Because there's no way, like you said, to do that and us feel like there's any stakes if he survives it.
No, it's ridiculous. Like, look at this. There's kryptonite literally at his fingertips. It's all around him. And then this is that sequence where he just is really pathetic, because we're just going to kick his ass for a little bit while he begs for mercy. And there's never going to be a comeuppance where he, like, flips it around on them.
Yeah, and
it doesn't have to be in this scene. Like, it's fine that it's in this scene, but, like, there should be some sort of moment where he comes back and he's like, now the tables are turned.
Well, and out of context, this is probably the coolest looking scene to me. Again, completely out of context, just because there's visually some stuff here that I like and wanted to see as a Superman fan in something. Like, I've always liked Lex in the white suit, and I don't know why he's wearing it in this, except it's a kind of a somewhat iconic image. I don't know who thought of that, because again, it's not like Singer's looking at comics, but we got Lex in a white suit, so like that's cool. And the kind of anti, Kryptonite fortress idea is a cool visual image.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Like, the set's good. I
still don't like his costume, but it's whatever. Like, that's just the movie.
But again, out of context, it works because it's a dark scene, so you're gonna mute all the so like if you had other scenes where you lit it up,
even outside
right?
of that, like, his symbol's too small. Like, I don't like anything about this suit.
Oh no, I don't
like
like
the
the
trunks
suit
are like
at all.
also too small.
Yes.
They just like all of the choices with it are bad.
No, you're right. And again, if you're gonna just, I think the suit is the perfect encapsulation of everything that's awkward and confusing about this as a sequel and a reboot.
Mm-hmm.
Is you want to be Richard Donner's Superman, but you also want to do your own thing. So you've got, and like contemporize it. So you can't just have a suit that looks like an updated version of his suit. You have to do your own thing, but you're also like banking on nostalgia with all the Donner stuff. So like it's the perfect encapsulation of what's confusing about this.
Well, this is also where we get, into the like Jesus allegory stuff, like too far, where like Snyder had the Kryptonite spear with Batman because the spear that pierced Superman or Jesus's body, his side. Here we just straight up do like it's not a spear, but we do the we pierce the side, and then after he throws the mountain, he's like falling in the cross position. Like, this is also where we're going like really into the Jesus imagery.
Yeah,
it's not
I didn't think of that.
to the same point of like the big Jesus stained glass window, but like we're still like really leaning into that.
And that kind of allegory, and I have this with Man of Steel too, is and I'm not saying you can't ever do that, but like it feels more heavy-handed when you don't let your character really be a character. Like the whole the whole character just feels like an allegory and a archetype, or even a stereotype, I guess. When we don't let him say anything, and he just kind of like broods and mugs the camera and like stands around a lot.
Mm-hmm. No, it's that, and like I said in the recent spoiler cast, like Superman's also more Moses than he is Jesus. So like, whenever we do that, I also kind of roll my eyes where it's like, okay, but that's not really what Superman is at the end of the day. Like, that's what you're going to, but anyways.
Yeah, well, and I won't get too much into that again. I grew up seeing more of the Jesus thing in it because the big thing that made me care about Superman was the death of stuff, and we did a lot of Jesus stuff with that. Because of the resurrection, and because of people like worshiping him when he dies and all of that. So like, you don't have that until that story, but you also need that story.
Yeah, it's not that there's no Jesus in Superman. It's just that, like, I think it's more Moses.
No, you're right.
Jesus, if you were to go to the religious place.
But I think you have to kill him and resurrect him before he's Jesus. That's the problem. So if you're not going to do that story, and I'm not saying that I need it now, like I'm sort of past wanting that, but like the reason I don't want it, Austin, is because I only want it with Death of Superman, and I don't really want that story adapted now. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. People are also making fun of in the chat that the thug that was beating Superman up is Kumar from Harold and Kumar, Cal Penn.
Yes.
Which is kind of funny. He's the not Otis in this.
Is he also... I know I've seen him in other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he pops up like in places. Like he's, working actor.
He's not the... No, that's not that actor. For a second, I thought maybe he was like the 10 Rings guy in Iron Man, but that's not who that is.
No. I think he quits acting around that point because he goes to work in the Obama administration, I think.
Oh,
because he's on House, and then he leaves House to do that. Okay. And I would think that would line up. I mean, Iron Man would be filming before that, but I guess it also comes out before that. But yeah,
I missed it, but earlier when the kid throws the piano, Draven G said he killed Captain Clown.
He did. He killed Tattooed Clown.
Dan Stan Ottman is also the editor. Yes, he always edits Singer stuff. He most likely but he says he most likely temp tracked Elfman's Hulk theme. That's a good call, and maybe that's why that ends up getting into that score, because like that's a...
They like how that sounds too much. They like make something that's that.
And again, it came out. I don't know. It's really odd timing.
Yeah, that is weird.
No, I'm glad you brought up that thing about Superman crushing a car.
No, what an asshole. You didn't have to do that.
Robert, I'm glad I made it just in time for the Kryptonite condom discussion.
Oh, you missed all the other discussions earlier, though, about how Jason was conceived.
Yeah, how wasted is James Marsden in this movie?
I don't know if I can say he's wasted, because he always plays guy who gets cucked by the hero. Like, that is, like, the main thing he's known for.
That's fair. No, you don't say that!
Even Cyclops. It is just like a weird typecast thing that he has. I don't know. I don't know what that does to a person when Hollywood is like, this is your type.
We haven't mentioned this yet, but it's also odd the way Singer and Brett Ratner kind of switch projects.
That Bryan Singer and who, sorry?
And Brett Ratner switch projects.
Oh, yeah. Brett Ratner was supposed to do Flyby.
Yes. And then he ends up making...
It's true, then he does X3.
And then Singer makes this. Right. Yeah, it's very strange.
That is really weird. Brett Ratner was just kind of one of those guys at the time where it's like, you need a movie made, hire Brett Ratner or McG. I think McG was another director they were looking at for Flyby as well.
Well, and he got further in because, like, that was the director they were going with right before it got shut
yes,
down.
because Ratner leaves and then McG takes over, right?
Yes, and I know that because Cavill said that he read for McG.
Okay. Interesting. This is really heartfelt music.
I know, I'm trying desperately to feel something. Oh, and then a CG man just came up into the lens.
Yeah, CG man just popped by.
Now I don't feel as much. Okay, so look, he's going to go up into the sun, and we're going to make a big deal out of him recharging himself. And then
he's of course got to do that pose.
And then when he's
do the Jesus pose.
And then when he's right next to the sun, after he throws the mountain, that's when he goes into a coma.
Mm-hmm.
So keep in mind, he still has a piece of kryptonite in him right now.
Well, no, she pulled out the big one. There's just like a little bit, and I don't know if that comes from the island or if that would, like, a little bit left over.
Oh, I assumed it was from the stabbing earlier.
No, Lois pulls it out. Like, that's That's the reason he can do this. So I think the little bit might come from the island.
Okay.
But there might be like a little bit. I'm not sure. Like maybe like the tip broke off. I don't know.
Okay, Austin.
But
I
Superman
need
also
you.
clenches his fist, and it's like this big moment where we do a close up of his fist, and it just highlights more that he's not going to punch anyone in this movie.
Well, see, that whole thing doesn't surprise me at all, though, because
No, and like it's fine. Like I don't need him to punch people in this movie.
well,
But
I'm just saying because all Singer does for the most part is go back to Donner, so he's like, there's not a big scene where Superman punches anyone, so it's not in the movie.
Exactly.
Also, we didn't talk about this, but the big kind of, I don't know if I would say iconic moment, but the moment that everybody remembers from this, and that they sold it really hard on with the trailers, with the bullet that goes into his eye. You don't do that an hour in. Like that's how you introduce your Superman. It's bizarre that we've been dealing with him for a whole hour before you have that scene. That is a completely pointless scene. Like we're just highlighting more. Here's what he can do. It's like, I know I'm a broken record, but it's like, is it a remake or a sequel? Because you only do that if you're trying to introduce the character to an audience. And I guess he's trying to do both, but like none of that's necessary. We all get that he's bulletproof. And if you just want a real cool moment, whether you think that's cool or not, I always thought that was a weird choice. But like if you want, just a cool like see Superman do something that only Superman can do kind of moment, that's how you introduce him at the beginning of the movie.
Like maybe you swap that with the plane sequence. Superman also, I guess, kind of kills these henchmen. But it's not entirely his fault. Like this is happening because he's lifting the island. So it's like not like it was intentional or anything, but like kind of.
Does he know they're on the island?
Yeah, because they were on the island when they were kicking Superman's ass, and then he's coming back to it now.
Yeah,
so he does know
I guess
they're on it.
Still there. Yeah.
There is a version where they don't make it to the helicopter, and he just throws Lex into space.
And then, of course, your Miss Tessmacher has to double-cross your Lex.
Yes.
I mean, it is just beat for beat.
Lex, just get out and grab them.
Yeah, that's weirdly edited.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know where they are in proximity to him when he opens that. So, like, could he have just reached down and grabbed them? Like, you need an insert.
He couldn't just throw on the other side.
You need an insert where they're fumbling, where they're just too far away from him.
He's got to walk around to the other side of the helicopter to grab them.
Yeah. But I do think you need another insert. Okay, Austin, I need you to explain how Lex's villain plot is remotely sustainable.
I don't know. Nobody would want to buy this land, first of all, because it's like the worst land ever. And what are you supposed to build on it? Like, it's just a mess of spikes.
Yeah, so the only way it makes any sense at all is if it was the only land available, I guess. But even then, I don't know how you build anything on it. I don't know how you grow anything on it. So you still need plenty of land left to actually grow things on.
But it would also flood most of the other continents.
Oh,
so you also get rid of that land. Like that is part of his plan. Is that it's going to flood most of America.
Yeah, we're told he's going to kill not millions but billions of people with this. And I would think that the people that were left would just stay where they are.
Yes. Well, and because when you say billions, plural, there's 7 billion people on the planet.
There's not even a billion people in the United States.
Yeah, so it would have to flood other continents when he adds more islands.
Yeah.
Like, no, none of this makes any sense. Lex is just stupid.
I haven't been pointing out specific places where the Ottman score is just the X2 score, but that was one of them, the, creepy choral music. And there's a scene earlier, I forget where, but where his music sounds almost exactly like the scene in X2 where Mystique is hacking into the computer. That's in here.
Oh, okay.
Discussing topics, the land is radioactive. There's also that.
Yeah, I don't know how like radioactive it is like in this movie's logic because Lex is like holding like a chunk of it and like waving it around. Like, I don't know that it really does anything. So like, I guess you can give them that, but like at the same time, like that is a thing.
Discussing topics also says, how does he expect not to get nuked? He doesn't have weapons.
Well, no, because Lois is like, well, the government's just going to attack you, and he's like, I have Kryptonian weapons, and then we cut to just the other crystals.
What's he going to do with that? Is it just the EMP thing?
I guess. He's just going to make more islands to fight them. I don't know.
And also, I don't know why the EMP thing happens.
No, I don't understand that at all.
He puts it in water, and then electricity goes out, and then after a while it comes back, I guess. Why does it come back? I just thought maybe I missed something.
No, I have no idea. Because it's space crystals. Thank God Superman landed in a park and not through, like, City Hall.
Also, I feel like, again, in Superman feeling guilty for leaving, and like I said earlier, I think you'd need a somewhat different initial premise and motivation for why he left. But I mean, part of this is just because it's so contrived. You know why I'm saying this, but wouldn't it be more dramatic and interesting, Austin, if Lex's plot was somehow inspired by Superman leaving the Earth? Where like he either gets that idea from that, or Superman comes back with something that gives him the ability to do something terrible on Earth. Like, I really want them connected somehow. Where it's like, oh, if only he'd never left, Lex couldn't do this.
Could you have done something where like Lex isn't just some loser on a boat, like in all this time? Like Lex has already kind of done something. By the time Superman comes back,
well,
like,
yeah, good call.
Oh no, he had a plan, and he's gone through with it because you've been gone for 5 years,
dude. What if? And you know what? That's a great idea, because that's how you get to. Well, first of all, it's just Superman leaves, and the world is now at Lex Luthor's mercy. It doesn't even have to be Superman's not there to stop extraterrestrial threats or something. It's like his arch nemesis is going to wreak havoc now because he's not there, and that's the way Lex is going to get his revenge on Superman. But what if this being a supposed sequel to Donner, where you had just the kind of like bumbling, not mad scientist Lex exactly, but like you know brilliant, scheming Lex, but he's not the corporate one. What if that's how you get to the corporate Lex? And while Superman's gone, he somehow like sets up shop in Metropolis, and the movie opens with LexCorp, and he's
president.
Or he's president. But I was gonna say, like, he's got half of Metropolis bought and paid for, and Superman could have stopped that. But he could also be president. That's another way you could do it too, because this is a few years after that in the comics.
Well, and in my pitch of like, you know, you make another movie and then him leaving and then coming back is your climax, and like that's like your big cliffhanger ending. You can have it where he comes back and it's like, oh man, part of America's flooded because Lex has done this scheme that's like paid off now.
Yes. And
like that's your big like, oh no, cliffhanger, and then your next movie is like Sonic, where Eggman's taken over. But it's Lex.
But yeah, I love the idea that Superman would come back and Lex is kind of taking the world over. That's a neat idea.
That'd be fun.
Anything sounds more fun than this.
No, literally. Being stabbed is more fun than this.
Okay, I got a would you rather for you, Austin. I think I know what your answer is going to be. This or X3?
Oh, it's X3 100%.
Because X3 is the movie he should have made.
No, because X3 is the best of the bad X-Men movies. Like, that movie doesn't annoy me. Like, it just, I don't know, it exists.
It's not very good.
Yeah, but it's also not, like, awful. Like, I just watched that movie and I'm like, this is meh.
That's why the pawns go first.
Yeah, that's way. I can remember things that Magneto says in that movie, as opposed to only remembering Wrong and Lois Lane. That I do remember when he goes Kryptonite,
and yeah,
but only because we watched it.
And what did you do?
Yeah, I already forgot about that.
And he only says kryptonite for a dumb audience that doesn't know Superman crap. Right?
Exactly. Well, yeah, of course. It's for that person that's sitting there like, why is Superman hurt? He's on an island. He's Superman.
Can you believe they shut down a whole city block in Sydney, Australia for this?
No. I'm also going to go back to the X3 thing. Even more than that, I remember deleted scenes of X3 more than I remember scenes in this movie.
That's great.
Because I remember all those weird deleted scenes where it's just all the Magneto parts, but he has a beard for some reason, because they did beard and non-beard versions, and I don't know why.
Jason goes, I want him to, I like him. And she's like, well, good, because that's your real dad.
Because that's your freaking father!
Robert $2 Super Chat, I'm surprised Cap named his first son from this film. I know, it was not one of my finest...
I'm also surprised by that.
Well, it wasn't one of my finest moments, but... And he'll have to live with it for the rest of his life.
I bet, like, whenever he sees other kids, they're like, yeah, Jason from Superman Returns, loser. That's what all the kids say.
And see, Lois's newfound appreciation from Superman or for Superman just boils down to he's got powers and he's willing to save us. Like, there's not anything more to it than that. Where it's like, oh, I guess the world did need you because you're the only person that can fly a big mountain of kryptonite. If Lex decides to do that conveniently 5 minutes after you get back,
without your technology.
Yeah, there's that too.
Draven G brings up a good point.
Yeah.
Do you think they slapped a hospital bill on Superman after he left? Oh, you know what? They couldn't have because he left without paying the bill. He didn't even wait to get a bill.
That's true.
He just leaves. What an a-hole.
You know what? He owes that guy that he crunched his car money, and he owes this hospital money. Superman owes everyone money.
He also owes Lois Lane 5 years of child payments.
Oh my god. Yeah, he owes her child support?
And possibly also a hospital bill if they used a kryptonite condom at any point.
And she could probably get him fined for spying on her house.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Lex can probably sue him for him throwing away his island.
I don't know about that. I mean, that's pretty illegal in the first place. And because Lex stole his crap to make that. Like, Superman could sue Lex for breaking into his fortress and stealing his stuff.
You can't prove that.
You can't prove that that's not Kryptonian. Okay.
No, you should have gotten those crystals anywhere.
So back when I wrote the rewind for this, I did not originally pick up on Superman knowing now that this is his kid because that's what she apparently whispers to him, and I had to make an addendum. I remember that saying it's a 3-minute video where I just say, "Oh, thanks everybody in the comments for telling me what that was because I missed it," and
There's
I,
Mark Kent.
I think I kind of justified in having missed it because, like, he looks completely unconscious. Why would you assume that he would even like understand what she said to him there?
Mm-hmm. Miss Tessmacher, why is the rum always gone?
Also, Martha Kent originally had more stuff. It was all cut.
Yeah, I wish they had a scene here, but they don't.
Well, it was all earlier in the movie, and
Oh, okay.
and her stuff was kind of decent. But there's this awkward thing where she is dating the next door neighbor, and that's
Oh,
who.
so that's what that is at the beginning where the truck's leaving her house.
That's who. Yeah, they're playing Scrabble, and you see
Yeah.
you see
Oh,
a
that's the
Scrabble
old
board.
people version of going all the way. I don't like that.
Yeah, and that's there just so that Clark can be sad about things changing and people moving on.
Hmm.
And it's just weird
Okay.
because, like, you know, they're older and his dad has been dead for a long time, and to the audience it feels like his dad has been dead for 45 years.
It's also an awkward way to find out your mom's playing Scrabble with another man. You crash your ship into her yard.
Well, and I don't know if you noticed it, because if you blink, you miss it, but it's still in the movie. But they make a bigger deal out of it in a deleted scene. But the last word she puts in the Scrabble board is alienation,
Okay.
which I guess is supposed to be like the thematic crux of the movie. And so they have one shot that's left in the movie where they cut back to it, and if you're looking real hard, you see alienation. I noticed it. On this viewing, and then I looked at the deleted scenes, and they actually open a scene showing her putting out those letters in that word, make a big deal out of that word.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But there's also a scene on the Kent farm where he wakes up after crashing and looks around the room he's in, and there are a bunch of photos of Pa Kent, and I'm pretty sure they're all of the original actor from the Donner movie.
Okay.
And if I'm right about that, I just think that's odd because like everyone in this is recast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess the precedent would be like the fathers. Like you have that
Oh, because Jarrell.
with Brando, I guess.
So if they're dead, we use pictures and stock footage of them.
But it is weird in that this is such well, it wants to be a big like father-son generation thing that you don't have anything about Pa Kent.
Yeah.
That is weird.
And
A couple things.
he is talked about in her scenes that are cut, so that stuff should have been put back in. She quotes him at one point.
Okay. Yeah, it would have been nice. You could have had something where, you have the Brando father becomes the son line, and then something that Pa says that she quotes, and then Superman can bring both of them into being a deadbeat father.
But it might have been cool on an actual serious note if he quoted both of them here to his son.
I said that comedically, but I did mean that. Like,
Yeah.
You could have had him say both here.
Because the line, I was sitting here trying to remember it. The line she quotes is when he says, "You were put here for a reason." So it's like it's not like it was an arbitrary line. Like it sort of.
You could have like merged them too. Like you were
Yeah.
put here for a reason. The father becomes the son becomes the father. Like you could have merged them.
It's just so weird to set up a passing of the torch thing with a kid that comes out of a one-night stand with a Superman that promptly leaves for 5 years. Like everything about it is just unfortunate.
The scene's also just uncomfortable because he doesn't say anything. Like he breaks into the kid's room at night. And he's like standing over him sleeping. Like he doesn't even come to Lois and be like, "Oh, I want to see my son" or whatever. And there's just like a creepy implication about that.
Well, it's for me, it's not creepy so much as just Superman is acting like rules don't apply to him, and I don't like that. Like,
No, just how it's framed is creepy. Like it's literally shot like a horror film, where you have the kid sleeping,
yeah,
and then the camera like slowly backs out, and Superman's standing there over him.
yeah, like why are we playing Superman mysterious? Like this Superman.
Yeah.
This line delivery is the worst.
Will I
we
see you around?
I just want the pause to be much longer. Around?
5 years. You need that full pause.
Around? And then this is the end of the movie. Like, it really feels like it doesn't have a third act.
Well, we cut from this weird, creepy scene to the Christopher Reeve flying through space shot.
Yeah, how's there no other resolution beyond this? And then this is just gonna be awful looking because again we just have a CG rubber faced Routh.
Oh, the globe is back on the roof. I guess he returned it at some point.
There's a whole movie about that. It's called The Daily Planet Globe Return. Oh, stop! No.
Oh, hi, Superman returns the game opening cutscene.
It's the worst. And again,
yeah.
I'm not trying to knock it for like trying to pioneer effects that aren't gonna look perfect yet in 2006. I get this is an older movie now.
You could have had him, and you can mix it. Like you could have had his face on a CGI body. It's fine.
They're not there yet. Well, and also I wouldn't want them to do it if they were. I want it to be a performance. I want him to get to do that.
Looks like this face is him.
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't the other shot be him as well?
But it also adds insult to injury that we end it with that because he's just been, to use your word, kind of creepy and not especially charming and...
Well, because literally the last 2 scenes are him standing over like a little boy in bed, like... And then he leaves, and then he's flying around Earth like...
Yeah.
No, stop it.
And you got a couple of token moments where he kind of acts like that guy, but they almost feel out of character for this version, who's just sad puppy dog man.
No, his Clark ends up closer just because they still let Clark Kent be bumbling.
Yeah, but his Superman is not far enough away from his Clark. Just because he's always so sad. Like, I don't
it's just that Clark speaks and Superman doesn't. Like, that's the biggest difference. Is
like, don't get me wrong.
No, but seriously, like
he's
Clark
trying
is
to give different
around
performances,
and...
but they both feel bumbling in different ways to me.
Well, okay, with Clark, it's like very much like shucks, I'm Clark,
So,
and then Superman,
yeah.
he's just like...
Well, but then his Superman is just as sheepish when he's talking to Lois Lane, and you could say, well, contextually, they're doing that because he doesn't know what to say to her because they're kind of on the outs. But part of the problem with that is I don't buy why they're on the outs. But also, even with that being the case, if Christopher Reeve's character was momentarily out of character and didn't say anything to her when he left, I would feel like he would still be acting more confident around her when he got back. We'd be... I think. I don't know. It's hard to make that argument because I don't see him doing that.
Yeah, you should be like, hey Lois, I'm Superman. And then when she's like, oh, I'm mad at you, then he just magic kisses her and she'll forget.
I went to space. I didn't think you'd understand. But
I went to space.
You know what he should have done? The first thing he should have done when he came back was bring her freshly squeezed orange juice.
Oh, there you go.
That's what he should have done. And a hot dog.
He should have walked up to her and been like, I caught a delicious bass for you. And then he would drop it at her feet.
He should have gone, let's go to Niagara Falls.
Oh, no.
Robert, why wasn't she just Tessmacher? Last we saw her, she was still with Lex and Superman 2. Why did they make up a new character? to be with
I
Lex and
forgot
Nez.
that Miss Tessmacher is in Superman too.
Oh yeah.
I just assumed that they separate because she betrays
No,
him.
do you remember
But-
takes? It's worse than that. He takes her to the fortress,
Oh, that's right.
and
That's right.
she keeps asking for the bathroom.
Well, that's why he didn't.
Remember,
that's why he left
mush,
her.
Miss Tessmacher, mush. But yeah, why did they have to
That's
make up
right.
a whole different character that's the exact same character?
Well, because if it was Miss Tessmacher, she couldn't have said, "You act like you've been here before" when they're in the fortress.
Oh, that's important.
It is important.
Yeah, she still could have said that because they can change anything they want to. They don't. They want you to
No, I
never
forgot that
know
her
if
name
it
was
counts
Kitty.
or not.
No, I keep forgetting her name was Kitty until you said it, and I've seen it in the chat. Because she's just Miss Tessmacher. Like,
Now
I
let
agree.
me ask you this: if we liked this story better and we bought these reinventions of these characters, but we were still kind of picking and choosing and pretending like and just vaguely playing Donner and pretending like some of those details count and some of them don't, would you be more okay with that?
I think it would still just be really awkward. Like, even if the movie was good, I think it would still be like, okay, but I wish it picked a land. So, like, I think that would still just be an issue.
I wish it would pick a Lois Lane.
Exactly. That was Parker Posey, because she would have been better.
Well, something I was going to say earlier about Bosworth is she looks closer to like the animated series version of something.
Okay, I can kind of see that. When I think too, I think Amy Adams was like in consideration for Flyby.
She was.
Yeah.
No, I think
so.
she was actually in consideration for this. I might be
Oh,
wrong
okay.
about that.
hmm
John
Just like, I
Kelly,
think
no
Downey
cap.
was-
She wanted a cheeseburger with bacon in the works, but sometimes she also wants a hot dog.
Oh.
Anyway,
She just
sorry,
likes to
Risa.
eat. No, women just like to eat. That's like one of their main defining things.
Well, they just want to have lunch.
Exactly.
Weird Al taught us this.
Don't ask them for breakfast or dinner or brunch.
It's true. Just ask my wife. She doesn't eat breakfast. My wife is the stereotypical woman. She just wants lunch. That's not true either.
You're like, oh man, you made lunch for dinner again?
John Kelling, Richard White, the role James Marsden did that led to Cyclops being killed off prematurely in X-Men The Last Stand. I'm sure the important role of Richard White was for sacrificing Scott Summers.
Well, we love Dick White. He's the best character in the movie. agree.
Discussing topics, it doesn't feel like we led up to this epic music at the end.
No. No, not at all.
Tyler says,
We have like a really downer ending.
maybe John Peters was onto something. Maybe Superman needs better fortress security. Tyler says, it's bad when John Peters has a point. Yeah, but John Peters is probably the problem with this, because he was a big voice in getting this movie made.
Yeah. No, that's fair. If only he got the spider in there, then it would give something, like, something would have to happen. Danston, now you guys sound like you're doing Dr. Seuss rhyme.
Hey, that's what this does
yeah.
to you. Having to talk about this for 2.5 straight hours.
Yes. Well, I mean, there was a whole section where we talked about kryptonite condoms and how much Goyer knows about comics. That's how engaging this movie is.
Again, I knew this movie was boring. I wasn't excited to watch it. I did not expect it to be as painful as it was going back to it.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of hurt.
Yes. I agree.
And that's one of those movies that was wrong place, wrong time, although I can't say that it would have necessarily done a lot better in another year, but you really don't want to put this out the year after Begins.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wonder if internally they didn't look at the success of Begins and go, oh crap, I don't know how well Returns is going to do.
Yeah, I wonder because they're also developing Justice League Mortal around when this comes out too. I think
No, I thought that was a
they
couple
would
years
have
after
been.
this. Or like a
Is that a
year
couple
after
years
this.
after?
Well,
Okay, it
they
might be like a
probably
year after.
well they probably start developing that because this didn't perform the way they wanted it to, and they started going a different direction. I don't
Possibly.
I don't
I'm
know
not
that for
sure.
sure. Uh,
Yeah.
but like of course they were talking about a sequel to this, and then it just didn't do what they wanted it to.
Well, I think it goes even like a little bit into that, and it just like a little bit after this comes out, because there was like a full idea for a sequel. I think it just ends up falling apart.
Yeah, I read it was all about box office, but
No, I'm sure that definitely hurt, but like I think they were still like starting to develop what
yeah,
even after that.
but there's no way they would have made that and Mortal at the same time.
I don't know because they were making Dark Knight and Mortal at the same time.
Oh, I guess that's true. Weird.
It is possible.
Yeah, so we could have had precedent for having, you know, multiple versions of these characters at the same time, because you still have people now
Mhm.
going, "Oh, is that really going to work with like the Batman and whatever Gunn ends up doing with Batman?"
Yeah, because it ends up falling apart because of the Australian filming thing where they were going to get like a certain like amount of their budget slashed off for filming there, but then Australia was like, this movie's not Australian enough for that. You got to pay full price, and then like that was a big blow to them. And then Dark Knight was super huge, so they just put all the eggs in that basket.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, if this had not gotten greenlit as early as it did, they would have scrapped it after Beans came out.
Yeah, for sure. No, it is unfortunate because, like I said, I do think the other two movies that weren't made before this were more interesting. I think Flyby probably wouldn't have been a good movie at the end of the day. And then Lives, I don't know. Like, I don't that.
Yeah.
But either way, they would have been more interesting than this.
Well, the thing I was going to say about Lives is that because I was talking about the paralleling trajectory of the Batman movies and the Superman movies, and we kind of skipped over the attempted dark and gritty reboot before we like finally find the heart and the character again, like I was talking about with this, because like you could say like at least for late 80s early 90s, 89 and Returns was the quote unquote dark and gritty reboot, and then they turn around and they start going to nostalgia bait with 60s to a degree through the movies through there. And then Superman Lives would have been Superman's dark and gritty reboot. And
Mhm.
when we finally get to Returns, it's like internally Warner's is almost acting as if they've done that already, if that makes sense,
Mhm.
where it's like they skip that phase entirely,
Mhm.
and then they
Well, something that we
finally
didn't mention.
arguably end up doing that with Man of Steel when this doesn't work.
Mhm. When something we didn't mention too is uh, one of the things that's like super up his own ass is on the set with Bryan Singer. We had just a picture of Nicolas Cage in the Superman costume, and he would walk around being like, "We're not making this movie." Uh, but you know,
Yeah, I had never heard
that's the
that.
worst thing. That's the worst thing he's ever done, is what I can say.
Yeah, I've heard you say that. I don't know where that came from. I've never heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that pop up like a few times. Like I've heard that story just kind of around.
Okay.
Uh, but
I
where it like
I
originally
appreciate
spawned from, I don't know offhand.
the solid source.
Just thrown around. You know, people are always talking about Bryan Singer.
No, that seems like a likely thing, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure where that comes from. I hadn't heard that apart from
Yeah.
you.
Well, that would be like not too far off from like the no comics on my set thing
No,
with X-Men. Like it's not like he's above doing things like that.
no, that's exactly right. I just wanted everybody to know, like, I don't know about that, but that sounds like a thing that could definitely could have happened.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go ahead and go to audience ratings. And apologies, I only put out the feelers for this a few hours ago, so I don't know how many we're gonna end up with. But I'm bringing up
I think I have
Patreon
quite a few.
right now. I only had two earlier on Patreon, but people have had time to get new ones in. Quick plug for Patreon. If you
I got
also,
6.
I have three. If for future rewind commentaries you would like to get a short review in that we'll read on camera, the $5 tier on patreon.com/keepvolution is how you do that. And at just the $2 tier, we've been opening this up for lots of other things lately on the channel as well. So we have a special slot for it on Rewind, but we're doing it for some other videos also. So let me start on Patreon. Actually, why don't you start because you've got more than I do.
Well, I was gonna say I actually have 7. Like where it opened up, it didn't even show me all of them.
Oh, goodness. Okay, let's do it.
So from Doolittle, he says, Superman isn't Jesus Christ, but let's pretend he is for a moment. ... Would Jesus Christ knock up his ex-girlfriend, leave planet Earth, and come back all sad and mopey? This is a plastic interpretation made by plastic artists for someone. Villain.
And he even looks plastic in the face and in scenes, and this is not on Ralph. No, and I never do this. I'm gonna complain about the makeup because there are scenes when it's not even CG where we get right up on Ralph's face and it's like they've done him up to look like a doll or something. Like he's it's almost preposterous how clean shaven he is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying
one of those creepy blinking dolls.
Yeah, I'm not saying I expect like a 5 o'clock shadow. It's almost like in every scene he's been photoshopped to look too perfect. You know, like sometimes people complain about covers of DVDs where they'll doctor a man's face all to hell to the point where he doesn't even look like himself anymore. It's like we've done that here in every scene.
Or it's like, what we complain about with, like, say, Spider-Man, for example, in the MCU, where we CGI all the ring off of his suit.
All the what? You broke up for a second.
All the wrinkles off of his suit.
Yeah,
it's like just kind of like perfect and makes him look like a cartoon character.
Yeah, you took out every possible blemish. Daniel Davis, I get what Singer was trying to do with Superman Returns. I'm glad somebody does. He wanted to make a superhero movie that emphasized romance rather than action. The problem is that he forgot to do anything interesting with that romance. Everything in this film is so languidly paced and directed. I feel it could be used as a cure for insomnia. Combined with Brandon Routh doing the quietest Christopher Reeve impression ever and the baffling miscasting of Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane, and you've got a recipe for anonymousness of the worst kind villain. But, like, you've got an obnoxious love triangle, but where's, like, the actual romance?
Well, I assume that romance had to have happened in order for them to have a kid, but I guess that's not a given.
Well, yeah, but that was pre this movie. Like, the movie itself is not a romance. The crux of the conflict is she's angry at him for leaving. And so, like, I guess you can call that a romantic conflict, but there's not any real romance in the movie, right?
Well, you kind of, I mean, yes and no. Like, we are trying to be like, oh, maybe they're going to get back together, but then they ultimately don't. Like, there is an element of that.
Yeah, by the end, but I mean, you gotta sit through it for, like, 2 hours before you get to any of that.
Yeah, that's just the movie. You can say that about any element in the
movie. Throw us another one.
From Connor Nielsen. He says, Superman Returns says Superman left Earth to learn something about Krypton. And I'm out here like, what happened? Did Superman unlearn his emotional intelligence? A boring, repetitive attempt to recreate source material. It obviously doesn't understand. Feels about a decade ahead of its time, though, and that it's right at home with the legacy sequel boom of the mid 2010s. Rating, big, bold, all cap, villain.
Wow, Connor put that a lot more succinctly and more articulately than I did when he said it was. What was the thing he said right at the start of that?
That he left Earth and came back, and he completely unlearned his emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence. Yeah, that's a great way to put that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like I said, with more recent legacy sequels, I mean more recent than this, like Star Trek '09 comes out 3 years after this, and also has that problem where it's not really telling that much of a story, and it's kind of confused about like the things that count like canonically and things that don't, because like yeah, we wipe over original Star Trek continuity, but like everything looks drastically different. Why is that? And like there are characterizations that are a little bit different, that sort of thing. And apparently it's supposed to be an alternate timeline in the first place, but they don't make it very clear in the movie. But like, there's entertaining stuff in that. It's not boring.
Mm-hmm. Well, and something like Jurassic World is probably the closest to what you're talking about, just in terms of that having the like very like prevalent meta narrative throughout it of like, oh, dinosaurs have kind of fallen off, like we got to come back and reboot it now, which is what you were talking about, like with Superman,
right?
In terms of the the world without Superman idea.
Yeah, and what sucks is that's a better idea to do with Superman, I guess, because arguably, even by '06, it did feel like a problem that people felt like that character was quaint and unnecessary, and we didn't really need anymore. Like that's not just about we haven't made a movie in a long time.
No, all three of the last Superman reboots are all to some degree about that.
Mm-hmm.
About the fact that, yeah, for sure. From Victor, he says, "You will believe."
With the dinosaur thing, it's almost more just like there was never legs in this and any reason to make a sequel in the first place. The meta narrative is, why are we here to make money? And then that ends up being like hilariously cynical.
We've got to have money.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Exactly. Victor, he says, "You will believe a man can snooze. I am that man, and I am snoozing." Rating, villain.
I am that man. Bag Studios, I think of myself as a defender of this movie, having found it at just the right time, I suppose, and although it is a bit slow and not the most action-packed thing I've ever seen, I have a good time with it for what it wants to be. Brandon Routh is a very good Superman, and I wish he could have gotten more to do in a better plot, and person aside, I do like the performance for Lex also. If you keep this crew tone and feel but applied it to a better, more original story, it would be a superhero. As it is, stuck in the past and giving us our first taste of the Force Awakens remake, quote, epidemic of the 2010s, I still like just enough of its trappings to call it a hero. Continuity bugs the crap out of me, though. Wow, he was shocked.
Wrong.
Yeah, I just want to know how long it's been since he's seen this movie. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean that's fair.
Wrong.
It's the only Lex thing that anybody remembers.
It's so hard not to do it. It's so hard not to do it. It's the only thing you
quote in this film. MattBat68, Superman Returns is just plain dull. It throws Superman's character under the bus and pads the runtime with an obnoxious love triangle. It can't decide if it wants to be a reboot or a sequel to the Richard Donner movies, and instead is just a half-assed retread of that film's greatest hits. Rating, villain.
Chewbacca's Lover, I liked this movie a lot as a kid, even though it doesn't hold up. I remember not understanding why people were so down on this movie, but Lex Luthor's plan is really stupid, and Clark and Lois are younger somehow than the previous ones, even though this is a sequel. I give it a hero just based on how I remember it. I dare you to watch it again. Or was he in the comments tonight? I wonder if he changed his mind.
I don't think I saw Chewbacca's Lover in the chat tonight, so...
Yeah, we'll see him.
Yeah, we both dare you. Go rewatch Chewbacca's Lover. Let us know.
Dude, Flushy DX, this is why romance died. Draven G, I'd take Force Awakens over this. I agree.
Yeah, I agree. It's not boring. Like, say what you want about The Force Awakens, it does have its problems. I'm not bored.
And
Like,
now
it moves along at a pace.
and now we've compared this to two J.J. Abrams like soft reboots that do the same thing. And say what you want to about Abrams, I guess he does that better than Singer does. So
Technically unmade, but technically 3, because he did write Flyby.
oh, so yeah, that's true. That was supposed to
Yep.
be there instead of this. So you still would have.
And I
kinda
think
had
it
that.
only just came out this week that Superman movie he was making with Coates got got canceled. Like I think they finally were like, yeah, that movie's not happening this week or maybe last week.
Really surprised it took that long for them to finally shelve that. I never thought that was going to happen.
No, JJ's produced
never.
nothing.
I mean, when it was first announced, I thought it had a chance at actually getting made, but like after it had just been years, I kind of didn't think that would ever happen.
No, of course. And that WB deal with Abrams has led to basically nothing.
No, he does these deals and just sits around and gets paid to do nothing. He just gets these big fat chags.
Yeah, I mean that is a hate the game, not the player thing, but that is still ridiculous.
No, it's ridiculous.
I can't believe they re-signed that deal.
He's just coasting.
Serial...
He's been coasting on Formula Glory for like 20 years. Like, what has he done?
Mm-hmm. He hasn't even made a movie since.
I mean, I say 20 years,
9.
like the Star Wars and stuff. But like, he hasn't made a movie since what?
Episode 9.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of the title.
and he wasn't even supposed to make that.
Yeah. Serial When Pigs Fly. Possibly the worst people to have in a. Sorry, I think he has a typo here. I'm gonna guess he means possibly the worst people to have when you make a film. After all the behind-the-scenes drama, can't believe James Marsden gets done dirty twice in the same year. Rating villain? ?
Yeah, well, we'll see if either Austin or I go even tougher than that. But let's go ahead and go to our ratings.
Oh, I still have 2 more.
Oh my God! Seriously? Sorry, I thought you got all yours out. Okay, go ahead and read
No,
those.
it's okay. I had 7. Captain Coon.
I was counting so well.
Where did you learn to count? Clearly, you didn't. I want to see that cut of The Dark Knight where he gets up to shoot the guy and then he just gets shot because he didn't count it properly. Captain Coon, I have moments of this and X3 burned into my brain. My parents had a minivan with a DVD player built in for road trips, and I left those movies in that van, along with a few other movies that I wouldn't watch all the time in the house. So I'd put them on from the ages of 8 to 11 when I'd go with one of them in that van into town. 10-minute ride to school or to the store. So parts of this finale are what I think of when I listen to the John Williams theme. Primarily when we get the shot of him lifting the Kryptonite Island and the theme kicks in. I actually really like most of the cast in this suit, though maybe it could have had a brighter red. I also played the video game for this a lot, which had an interesting idea where Superman is invulnerable, but the city is what has a health bar. Rating hero. Yeah, I always thought that was an interesting idea for the game.
Yeah.
For this movie. I only ever played the demo. I never got to play the full game, but I thought it was cool at the time.
I didn't get real far into it. I think I rented it at one point.
You never got to the big tornado at the end.
Huh. No, I played I remember the stuff at the beginning in space. Is it Mongol or is it something else?
I think it is Mongol. Yeah, I think he kidnaps you and puts you in like a little gladiator arena ship.
Yeah, it actually at that time the graphics looked all right, but the camera was all over the place, and that's the reason I didn't get very far in it. So really bad.
Yeah,
camera.
and the demo was just a part with Metallo.
Oh, okay.
So I only played that part over and over. But it was pretty cool. And my last one,
you get to imagine what this movie would be like if somebody like actually adapted from comics finally.
If somebody actually did anything.
It would have been interesting to finally get uh, a movie in the Donner continuity that used comic book supervillains. But at that point, I just don't even want that, right? Like, especially with, not having Reeve, but like, I'm sort of fine with, especially now, because like we know that Donner wanted to maybe do Brainiac at one point, but since that never happened, I'm okay with like that's the continuity where we do Lex and Zod, and we don't really do a lot
And a
with
computer
comics
and Nuclear Man, and my boy Lenny Luthor. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's it's sort of like a catch-22 situation. That's my issue with the Superman 78 comics, which I think are way better than the 89 comics. But like, I have a tough time with the comic stuff in it because I'm having a hard time imagining how you would even reimagine that as being a Donner thing. Like, I just at some point it just turns into kind of generic or classic comic book stuff.
Yeah, and because I've only read the first one of those, a big thing I don't like about it is when we do the Battle City of Kandor, Jor-El and Lock. So like Clark gets to meet them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that.
I'm not a big fan of that. I like how Brainiac looks in that, though.
No, I do too. I'll pick that at some point for us to review because I haven't read it in a long time and I never talked about it. And I haven't read the sequel.
I think the second one does Metallo.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Super Billy, though not completely worthless, that's a good way to start a review. They're not completely worthless. This movie is such a wasted opportunity. A dull, bloated, creatively bankrupt, underdirected, underwritten, and misguided attempt to recapture the magic of the first two Superman films. Any of the filmmakers tapped to make a new Superman movie before Singer took the helm, even Bay and Ratner would have made a more interesting film than this. That's what I'm saying. Rating, villain.
Yeah, I'm not liking all the people we're talking about favorably compared to this. Like, that's how much this isn't working.
Yeah.
Like, this is the most nice
I actually
things...
forgot Michael Bay was tapped to do Superman at some point.
Yeah, I forgot about that too. This is like the most nice things I've had to say about Abrams in a long time.
And Brett Ratner and McGee.
I don't know anything about him.
Yeah, I just don't like having to say McGee because it sounds dumb.
It sounds like you're ordering food. Okay, Austin.
I'll take 6 McGee's, please, and a large diet soda.
Let's finish this, shall we? What's your rating for this movie?
Okay. The consensus seems to be villain, but I'm gonna drop down lower. I'm gonna say this is a nemesis. This movie sucks.
I'm sorry. I'm right there with you. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't help it.
I figured you would be because I'm much more of like a dull place. Like this movie's just really boring. Like I don't want to ever have to look at this or think about this again. It's so dull.
But you had
it's that absence of good thing. Well, I feel like you're more energetically like, whoa, this movie sucks. But I think we are just in that same place of like, there's just nothing good about this. Like it's a complete absence of good.
Yeah, well, I think the reason I'm so frustrated with it is because there's not even a good foundation. It's not even like you started from an interesting place and you just done messed that up. Like you couldn't figure out how to execute it. Like usually I can I always say you can make anything work. Like I said, thematically, the idea of your like your birth home overtaking your adopted home and which one is the real one and all of that. Like I can see thematically what you would do with that. I can't begin to tell you how to realize it, and that just drives me insane. Like I feel like there's nothing here that's working, and I don't know how you don't go to Nemesis when neither of us had very much positive to say about this at all.
I said the movie was downhill after the WB logo. There's not really. The two nice things I can say are the WB logo having the Superman theme at the end of it was kind of neat. And I like that Superman loses out Lois to a man named Dick White. I think that's amusing. And he's the original Paul. Literally the only two nice things I can say about this movie.
So I can like I'm more mad about it than you, I guess. I can go to even less disingenuous things than that. Uh, like forgetting, like somebody said earlier, the the actual character of the man. Kevin Spacey is good casting, but for a more comic booky lax, like
Yeah, and he's one of those things again where I'm like, I probably would agree if it were a different movie. I'm too lost, and now I just see like he's sometimes doing his own thing and sometimes just doing an imitation of Hackman. So like, I never get good footing with him either.
yeah.
Like on paper, absolutely.
And like I said, there's I like some of the images in the scene where he's taking out the Superman just outside of context. I think that's a cool looking scene.
Mm. Yeah, for sure.
Robert, I still like the airplane sequence well enough. I just always thought that was really boring.
Hmm. Nicholas Bodo sums it up 1A over wrong. That is correct.
Yeah, so we both went Nemesis.
Yes.
Nobody else in the audience went that far down.
No, but everyone was villain. There was two heroes,
But
I think.
also, did any of them rewatch it in preparation for this? Because if I was just writing a short review having not gone back to it like a week ago, I would have said villain almost certainly. But then I
Yes, I
sat
am.
down and watched it again. Like, it's bizarre how much it doesn't hold up.
Mhm. No, I sat down and watched it back to back. It was awful.
And like I said, I felt like I was seeing some of the same side of bad side of Singer's directing that I did with Apocalypse.
Hmm.
I didn't really talk much about that, but there were just things that reminded me of that. Just like kind of a bunch of bad ideas that don't add up, and story stuff that just doesn't make any sense, and like
Hmm.
it's a real uninspired movie that's way too self important,
Yeah, no,
which
absolutely.
Apocalypse
And,
totally has.
yeah, and like I've always said, like I'm not the biggest fan of Singer, and that's not like a retroact, like oh he's a bad person thing. Like
Right.
going back, I've always been like, yeah, he's not a great director. Even like I like X2, but like I still don't think he's like this amazing director even in that. Um, but yeah,
No, and I
it
mean,
definitely really hurts this film.
I still like a lot of things about what that movie looks like. I recognized some of the teaminess in it, certainly, but like for me, it's a lot more about, uh, you know,
That is his most cinematic movie,
story choices
certainly.
and stuff. Yeah, yeah, and I mean, like Days of Future Past maybe ties it. I don't know. Like just cinematic. Why I think there's some cinematic stuff in that too, but X2 doesn't
Yeah,
have
probably.
any of the gross CG that movie has.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because that stuff with the Sentinels on the train is friggin' painful.
When I was going to mention that, that is what most of this movie looks like.
Yes.
Because most of what we have with Superman is at night, and it looks like that kind of just gross.
Let's
It
go ahead.
stinks, and I don't like it.
Let's go ahead and figure out where we rank this. I'm having a really tough time putting this somewhere on
Yeah,
my
for
list. So
sure.
I'll show you where I've got it right now, but I'm not comfortable with it. I was bouncing back and forth between like 10 notches, Austin, because a lot of it is just compared to other movies. Like, do I think it's better or worse than certain things? And I'll look at a movie that's like 10 past this, and I'm like, I'd almost put this over this, but then there's all these other things under it, which makes me think that I just need to rework my whole list now.
Mhm.
But so here it is. I
Okay,
currently
yeah.
have it at 44. So
You
I
have it
have
as
it.
your bottom five.
Yeah, I have it just
Who's the
above
fifth on that?
I have it just above Doomsday and just below Spawn.
Hmm.
Because somehow I actually think Spawn sort of holds together better than this movie does.
I mean, Spawn sounds boring. Like there is stuff that is interesting in Spawn.
But then I'm looking at some other things above it where I'm like, is it better or worse than Phantom? is it better or worse than Joker? I guess Joker I still would put above this.
Yeah, I would put both of those over this.
And then like just above Spawn, I have Hancock. I guess I'm comfortable enough with this placement.
No, I think that's fair.
Oh, sorry, I didn't scroll down enough so nobody could actually see this. But yeah, that's what it is.
We're just describing your list of them.
Yes, exactly. All right, let's see where Austin's got it ranked. Let's see if he got it any further above me. Hold on, I've got to refresh your page.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Austin put it. Oh wow, you have a second to last. Shocking.
I agree. I think it's better than Superman Returns.
No, this is Superman Returns. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I'm saying Hancock is better than Superman Returns.
Sorry, you cut out for a second. I thought you said this is better than Superman Returns.
No, I said Hancock. Because you were like, I'm pretty sure Hancock is better. I was like, yes, no, it definitely is. And Hancock just won over Superman Returns in my bottom three.
You think the only movie that is better than or is worse than this is Jumper?
Yeah, which is correct. Jumper is a worse movie than this.
Well, I'm sorry to say that we're in for more of a buttload of pain next time. Now, we get a week off because I've got a writer's meeting next week, so Austin and I are doing something else next Friday. We're going to do a speculation cast for the future of Superman in the DCU instead of a rewind commentary. And then the week after, we'll have to try to pick a different day, but I'm gonna try to still do one that week if we can. And so we'll be a little bit spotty with this over the next month or so, because in August I'm out of town some. My movie is coming out, and I've got some extra things to do with that. The Superhero Rewind the movie. So, but you will get that movie, which is related to the show because it has the name in it. But anyway, so Austin, why don't you go ahead and reveal what we'll be doing in 2 weeks?
Well, at the very least, I can say it's better than Superman Returns. The next movie we are doing is
that's because it's not Jumper.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that is very true. The next one that we're doing is Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver.
So yay!
Get ready to feel the pain. Which I just realized we were doing to tie in with that new movie, but I guess it'll have to be a week later. But which is kind of funny. But
Yeah.
at least we're still getting it.
We were trying to get that the week of, but I've got to.
I mean, we got this a week after Superman, so it's not like it's that big of a deal.
No, it's not. It'll just be weird because I won't be able to help but compare them, and you may or may not have seen it by then. So that's what the new one. So that'll be the odd thing about it, is that I'll be doing that now post having seen the new one, and I don't love that.
I got enough to talk about just with that one. I'll be fine. I'll survive.
Sure, but if you haven't seen the new one yet, I'm gonna feel weird like drawing any comparisons to it.
I mean, that's fair.
But we'll see what happens with it. Yeah, so Rise of the Silver Surfer, look forward to that. And then hopefully we'll do something, kind of half decent right after that.
Well, I think we know the next one after that, don't we? Isn't it the thing you mentioned to me today, or are you thinking about doing something else first?
Probably something else first, because I want to make sure that the audience gets to help us pick stuff often enough.
Sure.
I don't even remember what I said to you today. Oh, yes. No, let's put that off one and do something else in between.
Okay. No, that's fine by me. I mean, it's not like one that people are like aching to see anyways, so it's not like
no, that's
gonna
get
like
that's gonna get 35 views anyway. But I'm
it was just something we're just kind of interested to watch.
See it. Yeah. No, we'll do something in between. I don't know if we'll do something more major in between because we'll let the audience help us pick it. But
well, now I'm not going to put anything bad on the next poll. I've learned my lesson.
Folks, thanks a lot for watching. We sure appreciate it. And once again, patreon.com/geekvolution. $10 tier, you can become a Patreon producer, which lets you help us pick things for Rewind. Some of the time, you get to hang out with us on Discord, and we read your name at the end of every Rewind Commentary Project stream, and I'm going to do that right now. So thanks to all of our patrons, but especially Jesse Surtees, Chewbacca's Lover, Dr. Hello, Elliot Slater, Goofster123, Joe Turner, Jajira, Justin Hayes, Killer Moth Returns, Super Billy, Vic Apocalypse, Victor, Abic Stark, Adam March, Serial When Pigs Fly, Checkers the Inventor, Damon Begay, Hot Soup, Kareem Roberts, Kate Blaze, Matt Bat 68, Matthew Brody, Michael Martin, and the Captain Coon. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Hope you had a good time, regardless of my vehement hatred now for this movie. I don't know. I don't mean to overdo it, but yeah, it really drove me nuts, dude. I couldn't even watch it one sitting, man. I had to get up.
You had to watch it, like I think it was the Cavs and Coons said. You had to watch it in 10-minute intervals in van trips to the store and school.
Yeah, I was going to say, I really enjoyed just the sheer number of times he used the word van in his review.
Well, he was watching it in a van down by the river.
Yeah, I had that thought, too. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you again real soon. I was Captain Logan. This was Austin, the Day Ghost.
Have a good night, everybody. Sorry we have to do 2 awful movies back to back.
At least we get a week off.
Yeah.
Later, folks.
See ya.